Chapter 2750. The speed of the sword light was extremely fast. It arrived before Gu Tian in the blink of an eye and smashed into his body. Gu Tian was sent flying by the sword light, and a hideous wound appeared on his chest. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned when they saw this scene. They were unable to recover from their shock for a long time. Gu Tian still lost in the end. Mo Qingyun still reached the top in the end. In the entire history of the Supreme Harmony Demon Sect, Mo Qingyun's battle results can be considered number one. It looks like there won't be a problem for him to advance in the Inner Disciple test half a month later. Of course there won't be a problem. With his combat strength, ordinary Inner Disciples can't compare to him. The surrounding disciples revealed envious expressions when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Under the envious gazes of everyone, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly, and his gaze stared fixedly at Gu Tian as he said with surprise and bewilderment, "Strange, why do I sense a familiar aura on this person? Exactly what secret does he possess?" Gu Tian frowned when he sensed Mo Qingyun's gaze. He immediately became vigilant and said, "Looking at this fellow's performance, he seems to have discovered some of my secrets. I have to leave this place as soon as possible." Gu Tian thought in his heart. He took out the building token and tossed it to Mo Qingyun. After exchanging the building token with Mo Qingyun, Gu Tian directly left. It looks like I have to pay more attention to this person if I have the chance in the future. Mo Qingyun thought to himself as he looked at Gu Tian's back. He was a little more curious about Gu Tian. After making a decision, Mo Qingyun withdrew his gaze and bowed to Meng Qi and the others. He said, "Greetings, sect master and elders." "Haha, there's no need to be so polite." When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Babilai smiled and waved his hand. He said, "Mo Qingyun, I want to take in a disciple in name. Are you willing to take me as your master?" When Babeli's words came out of his mouth, the people around him were stunned. Babilai wanted to take Mo Qingyun as his disciple. Mo Qingyun was about to soar. Even if he was just a disciple in name, as the sect master's disciple in name, his status wasn't something that an inner disciple could compare to. We still underestimated him. He achieved his goal. Not only is his talent outstanding, but he also has terrifying intelligence. We can't provoke him. Looks like the waters of the demon gate of supreme harmony will be muddied because of him. When they saw Babeli's actions, the surrounding disciples were envious. Mo Qingyun had just entered the sect and was already valued by Babilai. This was indeed something to be envied. It's of course, it's of an eye of the world. After hearing Babeli's question, Mo Qingyun made a decision. After that, Mo Qingyun bowed to Babeli and said, "Disciple Mo Qingyun greets master. Please rise." Babilai nodded with a smile when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions. He took out a strange key and said, "This is the key to the 7th Hall of Supreme Harmony. You'll stay in the 7th Hall of Supreme Harmony from now on." After Babilai finished speaking, he tossed the strange key to Mo Qingyun. "Thank you, master." Mo Qingyun received the key and bowed to express his gratitude. After obtaining the key to the 7th Hall of Supreme Harmony, Mo Qingyun took out the first Earth Devil Tower's token and handed it to an outer court elder. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, an elder arrived with a nervous expression. The elder walked up to Babilai with a solemn expression and reported in a low voice, "Sect Master, someone from the Tao Ruins Saint Sect is here. He said he has something important to discuss with you." "Oh." Babilai revealed a shocked expression when he heard the elder's report, and he glanced at Mo Qingyun before he said, "Qingyun, if you have nothing else to do, then come with me. I'll introduce you to the members of the Tao Ruins Sacred Sect." "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded. Mo Qingyun left with Babilai and the others under the envious gazes of the others. Soon after, Mo Qingyun followed Babilai and the others to the Assembly Hall of Supreme Harmony Devil Sect. Many people were already seated in the Assembly Hall at this moment. There were people from the Supreme Harmony Devil Sect and the Tao Ruins Saint Sect among them. "It's him." Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the people from the Tao Ruins Saint Sect. This was because the people from the Dao Ruin Saint sect were Sun Jie and the others who were chasing after him. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. I didn't expect to meet you here. Mo Qingyun's heart sank when he saw Sun Jie and the others. He could not help but worry as he said, I wonder if Babilai will protect me when Sun Jie interrogates me later. Mo Qingyun's mind was filled with a myriad of thoughts as he thought about how to deal with the situation before him. Since he had taken Babilai as his master, it was difficult for him to decide between good and bad. You're really here. It took us a long time to find you. Sun Jie's face darkened when he saw Mo Qingyun entering the assembly hall. A strong, killing intent surged from his body. Babilai and the others were curious when they saw Sun Jie's reaction. They could not help but look at Mo Qingyun and the others. They could see that not only did Mo Qingyun and Sun Jie know each other, but they also seemed to have a grudge against each other. Young sect master Sun Jie, may I know why you've come to the Supreme Harmony Devil sect? After sizing up Mo Qingyun and Sun Jie, Babilai broke the atmosphere and asked about Sun Jie's purpose in coming. Hearing Bob Bailey's question, Sun Jie bowed respectfully and said, Senior, Junior has come for him. I hope Senior can hand him over to me. Babilai and the others were curious when they heard Sun Jie's purpose in coming. They wanted to know the reason. Qingyun, tell us the truth about the matter between you and young sect master Sun Jie. Babilai muttered to himself for a moment and then nodded at Mo Qingyun, allowing him to tell the story. Hearing Babeli's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and began to explain the whole story. After Mo Qingyun's story, the way Babilai and the others looked at him changed drastically. With Sun Jie's quasi-eternal realm cultivation, Mo Qingyun had snatched the star nest origin from him. This kind of instinctive resistance was too shocking. Mo Qingyun had entered the Supreme Harmony Devil sect. If his performance had not been too shocking, Sun Jie might not have been able to find him. Young sect master Sun Jie, treasures of heaven and earth belong to those who are fated to obtain them. You're not right. Babilai pretended to be dissatisfied and reprimanded Sun Jie. He said, according to Qingyun, he was already waiting for the star nest origin to take shape before you arrived. You captured the star nest origin and even wanted to kill him to silence him. This is killing and robbing. Senior, you. Sun Jie's expression darkened when he saw Babilai taking sides. He was extremely dissatisfied. However, due to Babeli's status, he did not dare show it. He cupped his hands and said, in that case, Junior will take his leave. I hope Senior will not regret his decision in the Star Field Battle for Glory. Chapter 2751. Everyone in the hall frowned when they heard Sun Jie's words. Upon seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun was curious about the stellar field battle that Sun Jie mentioned. Master, this happened because of me. May I know what I can do to help? Mo Qingyun broke the silence and asked Babilai when he saw everyone was silent. Babilai smiled when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He said, you don't have to worry about this. Although the Great Dao Ruins Saint sect is powerful, our Supreme Harmony Devil sect is not to be trifled with. Mo Qingyun did not ask any more questions when he heard Babeli's words. He planned to find out more in private. Based on Sun Jie's performance earlier, the stellar field battle was not a small matter. Many people must know about it. After replying to Mo Qingyun, Babilai waved his hand and said, you must be exhausted from the continuous battles. Go back and rest early. Yes, I'll take my leave now. Mo Qingyun responded when he heard Babeli's words. He walked out of the hall. After Mo Qingyun left the hall, Meng Qi and the others began to discuss with Babilai solemnly. The people from a Dao Ruin Saint sect are getting more and more arrogant. That's right. He's just a little young sect master, but he's so arrogant. If Elder Gu didn't stop me earlier, I would have killed him with a slap. My impression of Mo Qingyun is getting better and better. That brat did well. The elders were dissatisfied with Sun Jie's actions. Babilai nodded with a faint smile when he heard their words. He said, there's only half a year left before the stellar field battle. There's not much time left. Looks like I'll have to visit the other sections. Sect Master, I'm willing to make a trip and ask the other sex what they think. A white-robed old man walked out and took the initiative to ask Babilai. He was prepared to speak on Babeli's behalf. Babilai did not reject the old man's request. He nodded and said, "In that case, I'll have to trouble Elder Baihua." After receiving Babeli's approval, the old man nodded and walked out of the hall. After Babilai gave the old man some instructions, he no longer hesitated and began to discuss other matters with the others. Outside the 7 halls of supreme harmony, under the guidance of the key to the 7 halls of supreme harmony, Mo Qingyun easily found this place. This place is not bad. Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction as he looked at the 7th hall of supreme harmony in front of him and walked into the hall. When Mo Qingyun entered the hall, he didn't think too much about it. He immediately prepared to improve his cultivation. Since Sun Jie came, then my situation isn't good. I have to improve my cultivation as soon as possible and increase my strength to protect myself. Although Babilai was protecting him, Mo Qingyun couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't be in danger. In a flicker, Mo Qingyun entered the Fortune Mainland. After arriving at the Fortune Mainland, Mo Qingyun headed straight to the Grand Mist Sea to hunt and refine Grand Mist spirits. As his strength continued to rise, Mo Qingyun's speed of hunting Grand Mist spirits was much faster than before. Subsequently, under Mo Qingyun's relentless attacks, Grand Mist spirits were killed one after another. 10 days passed in a flash. In these 10 days, Mo Qingyun's harvest was great. He had killed a total of 16 Grand Mist spirits. Among them, there was 1 late-stage Universe Realm spirit, 3 mid-stage Universe Realm spirit, 5 early-stage Universe Realm spirit, and 7 Celestial Domain Realm spirit. In that case, let's start refining. After obtaining the Grand Mist spirits, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. As Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation, a black light gate emitting devouring power flew out from his body. The black light gate floated above Mo Qingyun's head and emitted a terrifying devouring power, absorbing the Grand Mist spirit's energy. In next to no time, strand after strand of pure primordial energy entered Mo Qingyun's body. When he sensed the Grand Mist energy entering his body, Mo Qingyun didn't want to think too much and immediately immersed himself in cultivation. As he continued to refine the Grand Mist energy, Mo Qingyun's aura rose rapidly. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. Quasi-Universe Realm. After several days of cultivation, Mo Qingyun's cultivation rose another level, and he was 1 step closer to the Universe Realm. Seeing that his cultivation had broken through, Mo Qingyun cultivated for a while longer before leaving the Fortune Mainland. I've been cultivating for more than 10 days. I wonder how the Supreme Harmony Devil Gate is doing. After leaving the Fortune Mainland, Mo Qingyun walked out of the Supreme Harmony 7 halls with a curious expression. When he had first entered the Supreme Harmony Devil Gate, he had cultivated for more than 10 days. It could be said that he had been cultivating for a long time. Thus, when he came out of seclusion, he wanted to gather some information so that he could act in the Supreme Harmony Devil Gate. Greetings, senior brother Mo. When Mo Qingyun walked into the Supreme Harmony 7 halls, a group of people walked towards him and bowed respectfully. When Mo Qingyun swept his gaze over the group of people in front of him, he recognized them. They were Gu Hao and the others that he had defeated. Junior brothers, why are you looking for me? After greeting Gu Hao and the others, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression and asked about their intentions. When Gu Hao heard Mo Qingyun's question, he didn't hide his intentions and said, "Senior brother Mo, we didn't come looking for you for anything. We just wanted to tell you that the Inner Disciples assessment will end today. If you want to participate, you have to hurry up. Also, I hope that senior brother Mo can take care of me during the assessment." Gu Hao was frank and didn't hide his intentions, which made Mo Qingyun have a good impression of him. The Inner Disciples assessment is about to end. When he heard the news from Gu Hao, Mo Qingyun was shocked. If he missed today, he would have to wait another year to become an Inner Disciple. Fortunately, I came out today. Mo Qing Yun felt a sense of relief. He looked at Gu Hao and the others gratefully and said, "Thank you for your reminder. Please take me to register." "Yes." When Gu Hao heard Mo Qing Yun's words, he immediately led the way. It wasn't long before Mo Qing Yun arrived before a hall under Gu Hao's lead. At this moment, the hall was filled with disciples who were registering their information. When the disciples saw Mo Qing Yun, they all revealed respectful expressions and immediately made way for him. "Thank you, everyone." Mo Qing Yun nodded his head humbly in response to everyone's politeness. Everyone was flattered by Mo Qing Yun's action and had a good impression of Mo Qing Yun. The current Mo Qing Yun gave them a completely different feeling compared to when he was in the Devil Extinction Valley. After exchanging pleasantries with everyone, Mo Qing Yun came before an old man and registered his identity. Shortly after, he walked to the side and waited for the inner disciples' assessment to begin. When Mo Qing Yun was waiting, Gu Tian and a group of people came and quickly registered their information. When Gu Tian saw Mo Qing Yun, his expression immediately changed and his gaze became gloomy. Chapter 2752. An hour later, everyone's identity information had been registered. After everyone's identity was registered, the elder in charge of the assessment looked at the crowd and said, "There are 3 rounds of the intersect disciple assessment. The first round is to brave the spatial ghost cave. Those who pass through the spatial ghost cave within 3 days will pass the first round." Everyone's expression tensed up when they heard the elder's words. Some people's faces even turned pale. From the looks of it, they seemed to have a strong fear of the spatial ghost cave. "Senior Brother Chan, can you tell us about the situation in the spatial ghost cave?" The spatial ghost cave is an independent space. There are all kinds of nomological ghosts inside that prevent the examinees from passing through. Nomological ghosts? Are they powerful? They're basically at the universe realm. You must not let your guard down when you encounter them. Some people who knew about the spatial ghost cave slowly explained to the crowd. Everyone's expression immediately tensed up when they heard these people's words. Spatial ghost cave? Mo Qing Yun stroked his chin. He had a strong interest in the conversation of the people beside him. Gu Hao immediately understood when he saw Mo Qing Yun's reaction. He began to explain, "Senior Brother Mo, the ghosts in the spatial ghost cave are formed from nomological origins. Although they are powerful, if you refine them, you can increase your comprehension of nomological laws." "Oh, it seems like the spatial ghost cave is a cultivation paradise?" After listening to Gu Hao's explanation, Mo Qing Yun's understanding of the spatial ghost cave reached a new level. Gu Hao and the others nodded in agreement with Mo Qing Yun's words. They did not object to this. Gu Hao was silent for a moment before he said, "That's true. However, the spatial ghost cave is full of dangers. There is also a time limit for passing the assessment. Very few people choose to stay and cultivate." Mo Qing Yun nodded in agreement. After Gu Hao finished speaking, Shaman changed the topic and added, "However, there are also some people who enter the spatial ghost cave to hunt nomological ghosts and increase their comprehension of the spatial ghost cave." "Oh!" Mo Qing Yun's eyes lit up, and he turned to look at Shaman and the others. Looking at their posture, it seemed that they were planning to do so. Seeing that their thoughts had been exposed, Shaman and the others revealed a guilty look, and all of them smiled embarrassedly at Mo Qing Yun. "I won't hide it from Senior Apprentice Brother Mo. The few of us comprehended the laws of space mainly through this method." Under Mo Qing Yun's gaze, Shaman had an awkward expression as she explained, "It is also because of this that the Earth Demon Tower's ranking is fought over by everyone." Hearing this, Mo Qing Yun nodded and immediately understood the key point. To participate in the inner sect disciple assessment, an outer sect disciple's ranking in the Earth Devil Tower had to be at least within the top 1,000. The Space Ghost Cave has been opened. Quickly enter it. While Mo Qing Yun and the others were talking, a solemn voice entered their ears. Hearing the old man's words, Mo Qing Yun did not want to delay any longer. He nodded to Gu Hao and the others and said, "Let's go in too." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he took the lead and walked forward, entering the space ghost cave with the others. The scene before Mo Qingyun's eyes blurred, and he arrived at a pitch-black and deep cave. There were many forks in the cave, leading in all directions, causing one to be dazzled. Every passage gave off an extremely eerie and terrifying feeling. What are your plans? Looking at the various paths in front of him, Mo Qingyun asked for everyone's thoughts. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, everyone looked at each other and whispered in low voices. After a while, Gu Hao and the others made their decisions and made their own plans. Gu Hao said, "Senior apprentice brother Mo, I want to try the next few rounds. Please bring me through the space ghost cave. The few of us want to hunt some ferocious spirits to improve our comprehension of the laws of space," Shaman and the others said. "In that case, the few of you will follow me." Knowing what they were thinking, Mo Qingyun instructed them and walked forward. Mo Qingyun did not think too much and casually walked into a passage, moving forward slowly with a calm expression. After entering the passage, the atmosphere immediately became oppressive, making one shudder with fear. Not long after, a flickering light spot entered Mo Qingyun's line of sight. "Senior apprentice brother Mo, be careful. That's a ferocious spirit." Seeing the ferocious spirit flickering in front of them, Gu Hao and the others trembled and hurriedly reminded Mo Qingyun. Upon hearing Gu Hao and the others' words, Mo Qingyun immediately collected his thoughts and carefully sized up the light spot. Mid-stage universe realm. Thanks to Mo Qingyun's perception, he could clearly sense the strength of this nomological, vengeful specter. While Mo Qingyun was sensing the strength of the ferocious spirit, the figure of the ferocious spirit flashed and appeared in front of them. Then, a wave of pure law power descended on their bodies. What a powerful spatial expansion law! Sensing the power of the laws, Mo Qingyun's expression trembled as an intense shock filled his heart. He was filled with a strong feeling because he realized that his body felt like it was about to explode under the influence of this spatial expansion law. Upon seeing this, Mo Qingyun's eyes widened and he exclaimed, "I never thought that the spatial expansion law could be used like this." While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he also had a brand new understanding of the use of the spatial expansion law. Spatial expansion. Spatial compression. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he did not hesitate and immediately dispelled the law power in his body. As the two types of law power offset each other, the swelling feeling in Mo Qingyun's body immediately disappeared. Boom! Suddenly, a muffled sound was heard, and one of the people's stomachs exploded. Based on his appearance, his body had probably been forcefully blown apart by the spatial expansion law. Upon seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn, and he said to Gu Hao and the others beside him, "Take him to the side first. I'll deal with this ferocious spirit." "Yes." Gu Hao and the others responded and retreated to the side. After instructing Gu Hao and the others, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately rushed towards the ferocious spirit. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered a few times and arrived in front of the ferocious spirit and slapped down on it. Spatial imprisonment. Under Mo Qingyun's palm, a mysterious power of law enveloped the ferocious spirit. Immediately, the ferocious spirit's range of movement was forcefully compressed. After imprisoning the ferocious spirit's movements, Mo Qingyun slashed out with his sword, slashing out an imposing sword light. The sword light was extremely fast and arrived in front of the ferocious spirit in the blink of an eye, swallowing it up. Then, the ferocious spirit began to dissipate, turning into a mass of pure law. Chapter 2753. One slash. With just one slash, the mid-stage universe realm malicious spirit was killed by Mo Qingyun. Seeing the situation, Gu Hao and the others at the back all revealed shocked expressions. Senior Brother Mo's strength is even stronger than before. With his strength, There definitely won't be any problems in the intersect disciple assessment this time. Needless to say, senior brother Mo participating in the intersect disciple assessment is just a formality. Shaman and the others whispered to each other. While Shaman and the others were talking, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and beckoned, taking the malicious spirit into his hand. Immediately, he walked towards Gu Hao and the others and threw the malicious spirit to them, saying, "This malicious spirit carries the law of space expansion. Which one of you wants to refine it? Let Feng Wan refine it." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Hao pointed at a woman. Hearing this, the woman immediately revealed an excited expression and said gratefully to Mo Qingyun, "Thank you, senior brother Mo. I will definitely remember this kindness in my heart. No need to be so polite." Mo Qingyun waved his hand, turned around, and continued walking into the passage, saying, "Don't waste time. Continue going deeper into the spatial ghost cave." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Hao and the others hurriedly followed. As Mo Qingyun and the others advanced, they soon encountered another malicious spirit of law that pounced towards them. "All of you back off." Seeing the malicious spirit of law approaching, Mo Qingyun reminded everyone, and he charged towards the malicious spirit of law. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, arrived beside the malicious spirit of law, and stabbed towards it. Ignore defense. Mo Qingyun stabbed out, blasting out a golden sword light, engulfing the malicious spirit of law. Being bombarded by the domineering sword light, the malicious spirit of law screamed, and its aura weakened. Immediately after, under Mo Qingyun's sword, the malicious spirit of law was killed. After killing the malicious spirit of law, Mo Qingyun put it away and handed it to Gu Hao and the others. With regards to Mo Qingyun's action, Gu Hao and the others did not stand on ceremony and gladly accepted it. In their view, with Mo Qingyun's strength, it would be very easy for him to kill law wraiths. Therefore, it would not be too much of a problem for him to obtain the law of evil spirits to cultivate. As long as he was given enough time, he would be able to capture and kill all the nomological malicious spirits in the spatial cavern. Following this, Mo Qingyun and the others continued to move forward, going deeper and deeper into the spatial ghost cave. Several hours later, with Mo Qingyun and the others hurrying along, they arrived at the end of the tunnel. When they reached the end of the tunnel, Mo Qingyun and the others stopped to discuss how to proceed. Looking at the exit in front of them, Charmin and the others revealed troubled expressions and said, "Once we leave the spatial ghost cave, the law wraiths will dissipate. We won't go out with you." Hearing the explanation of Shaman and the others, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding and said, "In that case, all of you will stay here. Gu Hao and I will continue with the test." They nodded. "Let's go." After hinting at Gu Hao with his eyes, Mo Qingyun walked out of the spatial ghost cave. In next to no time, Mo Qingyun and Gu Hao returned to the demon sect of Supreme Harmony. When Mo Qingyun and Gu Hao came out, Gu Tian and a few others came out of the spatial ghost cave together. "Oomph." After glancing at Mo Qingyun and Gu Hao, Gu Tian snorted coldly and led the others to the side. Gu Hao was immediately displeased when he saw the behavior of Gu Tian and the others, and he said coldly, "They're just a group of losers. What's there to be proud of?" Gu Tian and the others ignored Gu Hao's ridicule as if they didn't hear it at all. Gu Hao didn't say anything when he saw the behavior of Gu Tian and the others, and he just sat down with a displeased expression. Next, Mo Qingyun and the others waited for the others to come out of the spatial ghost cave. 3 days passed quickly. During this process, some people passed through the spatial ghost cave and completed the first round of the test. Of course, most people didn't come out and were still in the spatial ghost cave. Mo Qingyun wasn't surprised by this situation. He felt that most of the people that didn't come out had stayed behind to continue cultivating. "Since you've passed the test, follow me to the location of the second round of the test." After he spoke to Mo Qingyun and the others, the old man led the way and flew towards an enormous mountain. Mo Qin-yun and the others followed closely behind the old man when they saw this. Before long, they arrived before a black pagoda under the old man's lead. Could this be the time Devil Pagoda? Mo Qin-yun revealed a curious expression as he looked at the enormous black pagoda before him, and he carefully sized up the black pagoda before him. Mo Qin-yun's actions didn't escape Gu Hao's attention. When he saw Mo Qin-yun was interested in the black pagoda, Gu Hao immediately explained, "Senior brother Mo, this is the spatial ghost pagoda. I never imagined that the second round of the test would actually be chosen here." Spatial ghost pagoda? After learning about the origins of the black pagoda from Gu Hao, Mo Qin-yun became curious. Guessing Mo Qin-yun's thoughts, Gu Hao didn't stop talking and continued. The spatial ghost pagoda is the same as the time devil pagoda. They are both treasured places to comprehend the laws. It was a wise choice for me to come with you this time. After Gu Hao's explanation, Mo Qin-yun understood the function of the spatial ghost pagoda in his heart. At this moment, while Mo Qin-yun and Gu Hao were talking, the old man leading the way coughed and said, "Everyone, quiet down. I will now tell you the criteria for the second round of the test." The criteria for the second round of the test is very simple. Whoever can rush to the third level of the spatial ghost pagoda within 10 days will be considered to have passed the test. Hearing the old man's words, many people's expressions became heavy and dejected. Under Mo Qin-yun's gaze, he discovered that Gu Hao's face was also filled with dejection. He seemed to have lost all hope for this round of the test. What's wrong? Could it be that this round is different? Seeing Gu Hao's expression, Mo Qin-yun asked curiously. Hearing Mo Qin-yun's question, Gu Hao had a bitter expression and said, "Senior brother Mo, you don't know. If you want to enter the third level of the spatial ghost pagoda, you have to comprehend 3 types of spatial laws. I haven't even comprehended the second type, so how can I pass this round of the test?" After Gu Hao finished speaking, Mo Qin-yun completely understood his thoughts. Mo Qin-yun frowned and said, "Do you know of any way to forcibly bring you to the third level?" "No." Hearing Mo Qin-yun's words, Gu Hao shook his head helplessly and said, "Senior brother Mo, you don't have to worry about me. It's good that I stay here to cultivate. Inner sect disciples only have the opportunity to cultivate here once a year. As an outer sect disciple, it's enough for me to come here to cultivate once." Chapter 2754. Let's go in. After instructing Gu Hao, Mo Qin-yun walked into the spatial ghost pagoda. After entering the spatial ghost pagoda, an eerie aura enveloped Mo Qin-yun. Under the envelopment of this aura, Mo Qin-yun felt an icy chill on his back. At the same time, a mysterious power of law pressed down on him. Under this power of law, he felt as if his body was about to be flattened. Spatial compression law. Sensing his situation, Mo Qin-yun frowned and released the spatial expansion law to counteract it. Under the power of the spatial expansion law, the oppressive feeling was immediately weakened by a lot. "I'm going up. Take care of yourself." After dispelling the pressure on his body, Mo Qin-yun instructed Gu Hao and walked towards the stairs to the second floor. Hearing Mo Qin-yun's words, Gu Hao immediately nodded and directly sat down cross-legged on the spot. After that, Mo Qin-yun walked forward alone and headed towards the second floor of the spatial ghost pagoda. After a short while, Mo Qin-yun saw Gu Tian walking forward at full speed. Seeing Mo Qin-yun approaching him, Gu Tian's face turned cold and a strong sense of hostility arose. Mo Qin-yun didn't mind Gu Tian's behavior and walked forward unhurriedly. Seeing Mo Qin-yun getting closer and closer, the hostility that Gu Tian displayed also became stronger and stronger. He said, "Mo Qin-yun, do you dare to compete with me and see who passes this round of test first? Wouldn't it be too much of a bully if you compete with me in this?" Mo Qin-yun replied with a faint smile. He had overtaken Gu Tian just like that. He didn't dare to say anything else, but in terms of comprehension of the spatial law, Gu Tian was absolutely unable to compare to him. Seeing Mo Qin-yun overtake him, Gu Tian was immediately enraged and released the power of his bloodline. You will definitely lose this competition. After activating the power of his bloodline, the suppression of the spatial law on Gu Tian was immediately weakened to the extreme. After that, Gu Tian's speed immediately increased. Not long after, he overtook Mo Qingyun and pulled some distance away from Mo Qingyun. This bloodline power. Mo Qingyun frowned when he sensed Gu Tian's bloodline aura. That bloodline felt very familiar to him, but he couldn't tell where he had seen it before. Let's pass the test first. As for the origins of this fellow, Gu Tian, it wouldn't be too late to slowly investigate. After racking his brains to no avail, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and immediately chased after Gu Tian. It wasn't long before the distance between Mo Qingyun and Gu Tian was pulled a little closer once more. However, when the distance between the two of them had just closed, Gu Tian exerted himself to widen it. After that, a tug-of-war was formed between Mo Qingyun and Gu Tian. Such a situation shocked the people behind them, and they were in awe of them. What a powerful bloodline power. It can actually negate the suppression of the power of laws. As he chased after Gu Tian, Mo Qingyun's curiosity towards Gu Tian's bloodline grew stronger and stronger. The feeling Gu Tian's bloodline gave Mo Qingyun was too strange, and he couldn't help but want to figure it out. I can't allow this fellow to continue following me. Otherwise, he'll notice something. Gu Tian's face went grim when he noticed Mo Qingyun's actions, and he became slightly vigilant. After that, he sped up and immediately shook off Mo Qingyun. What a vigilant fellow. Mo Qingyun's eyes narrowed when he saw Gu Tian's actions, and then a wisp of a faint smile appeared on the corners of his mouth. He said, "It isn't easy to shake me off." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself, and then he sped up and stopped holding back. After that, the distance between him and Gu Tian shrunk at an extreme speed. Before long, Mo Qingyun overtook Gu Tian once again and arrived in front of him. He said, "I'll be going first. I hope you won't fall too far behind." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he entered the second level of the spatial ghost pagoda before Gu Tian. When he arrived at the second level of the spatial ghost pagoda, the aura within the pagoda became even more sinister, as if a terrifying, hungry ghost was spying on him. Besides that, another profound law of space descended upon Mo Qingyun's body. Under these two laws of space, Mo Qingyun's ability to move was immediately greatly suppressed. The law of space imprisonment. After learning about the law of the second level of the spatial ghost pagoda, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate at all and immediately took out the nine-bull divine sword. After that, he continuously swung the nine-bull divine sword to shatter the space before him as he advanced. Not long after Mo Qingyun advanced, Gu Tian arrived at the second level. He stared coldly at Mo Qingyun and said, "Mo Qingyun, it won't be so easy for you to defeat me." As soon as Gu Tian finished speaking, he followed closely behind and gradually shrunk the distance between him and Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Gu Tian's actions at all and advanced at a neither fast nor slow pace. Outside the spatial ghost pagoda. So fast. It's only been a few hours, and two people have already entered the second level. Who are these two people? Their comprehension of the law of space has actually reached such a level. If I'm not wrong, it should be Mo Qingyun and Gu Tian. I wonder who's stronger. The first two levels aren't difficult, but the third level isn't easy. There will be law wraiths ambushing you. When they saw the situation within the spatial ghost pagoda, everyone chattered. Several hours later, while everyone was chatting, one of the two dots of light on the second level of the spatial ghost pagoda suddenly disappeared. Subsequently, a dot of light flickered on the third level of the spatial ghost pagoda. When they saw this scene, everyone in the surroundings gasped, and intense shock appeared on their faces. Who is this person? Is it Mo Qingyun or Gu Tian? It's only been a few hours, and he actually entered the third level. Too terrifying. Even an inner court disciple wouldn't be able to do this, right? Everyone revealed shocked expressions, and they were unable to accept this fact. After another few hours, the other dot of light on the second level entered the third level of the spatial ghost pagoda. Perhaps it was because of their previous experience, but when they saw this situation again, everyone seemed to be extremely indifferent. Next, everyone unhurriedly observed the progress of the two dots of light. Very quickly, half a day passed. Just when everyone was getting impatient, the dot of light that entered the third level of the spatial ghost pagoda suddenly disappeared. Could it be that he came out? When everyone was thinking this, a dot of light suddenly lit up on the fourth level of the spatial ghost pagoda. When they saw this scene, everyone in the surroundings was stunned. Someone had entered the fourth level. Right at this moment, when everyone was shocked, the other dot of light on the third level suddenly disappeared. When they saw this, everyone's expressions shook, and they instinctively had a thought. Could it be that the other person had also entered the fourth level? When everyone was puzzled, a figure flew out from the third level of the spatial ghost pagoda and flew towards everyone. Of course, when everyone saw this figure, they immediately recognized him. Chapter 2755. Senior Brother Goo, congratulations on being the first to come out. Senior Brother Goo is still formidable, being the first to complete the second round of the test. That Mo Qingyun is nothing. He's probably still struggling on the first level. When Gu Tian came out of the spatial ghost pagoda, some people that were familiar with him started flattering him. Gu Tian frowned when he heard their words, and his expression became slightly unnatural. He clearly saw Mo Qingyun in front of him, so why was he the first to come out? Could it be that Mo Qingyun didn't come out? Instead, he went to the fourth level of the spatial ghost pagoda. Gu Tian wasn't stupid. He thought about it for a moment and guessed the possibility behind it. After that, he revealed a curious expression and asked the people in front of him, "Didn't you see Mo Qingyun come out?" "No." They shook their heads and asked with bewildered expressions, "Senior Brother Gu, what's wrong? Could it be that there's something wrong with Mo Qingyun?" Gu Tian's expression became even more unsightly when he obtained such an answer from them. Instantly, a strong feeling of humiliation arose in his heart. As far as he was concerned, even though he was the first to come out of the third level, he'd lost the competition with Mo Qingyun. Because so long as Mo Qingyun was willing, he was completely capable of leaving the third level before him. What made him even more vexed was that the better Mo Qingyun performed, the stronger the ridicule he received would be. "Mo Qingyun, you win." Gu Tian's expression darkened when he thought of the ridicule he had to endure. An intense rage arose in his heart. After that, he forcefully restrained his rage and silently watched the spatial ghost pagoda. Half a day later, the dot of light on the fourth level vanished, and Gu Tian entered the fifth level. Another day passed, and the dot of light on the fifth level vanished, and a dot of light lit up on the sixth level. The people outside the spatial ghost pagoda were stunned when they saw this. Subsequently, their curiosity towards the person that entered the sixth level grew even stronger. Compared to the curiosity of the crowd, Gu Tian's expression was as dark as ink, and he gnashed his teeth. How is this possible? With Mo Qingyun's cultivation, he actually entered the sixth floor of the spatial ghost pagoda. A wisp of killing intent flashed through Gu Tian's eyes as he clenched his fists tightly. Mo Qingyun with a huge scourge. He could not be allowed to continue growing. As everyone waited, people slowly came out from the third floor of the spatial ghost pagoda. After these people came out and heard about Mo Qingyun's matter, all of them were stunned. It was already extremely difficult for them to enter the third level, so they didn't expect someone to reach the sixth level. Even for inner disciples, it would be extremely difficult for them to enter the sixth floor. Time slowly passed. About a day later, when the examination was about to end, the light on the sixth floor disappeared. The light on the sixth floor has disappeared. Will he enter the seventh floor? If he can enter the seventh floor, then it will be really amazing. Regardless of whether he can enter the seventh floor or not, his identity will be confirmed. Under everyone's gazes, a figure came out from the sixth floor and entered everyone's line of sight. When everyone recognized him, they immediately revealed intense shock. Mo Qingyun. The person who entered the sixth floor was actually Mo Qingyun. I didn't expect you to come out before me. You in the competition. Mo Qingyun came out of the spatial ghost pagoda, walked in front of Gu Tian, and said to him with a faint smile. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Gu Tian's face darkened. He snorted coldly and walked away. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's words were a form of humiliation to him. So what if he left the spatial ghost pagoda first? With his performance and Mo Qingyun's, it was obvious who was better. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Gu Tian's performance and casually walked towards the elder in charge of the complicated examination. Little fellow, you're not bad. Seeing Mo Qingyun walk closer, the elder in charge of the examination had a gratified expression as he praised. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's performance in the examination was too dazzling. Thank you for your praise, elder. Hearing the elder's words, Mo Qingyun nodded humbly. Mo Qingyun had his own reasons for doing this. In his opinion, the higher his talent, the more Babilai would value him. At that time, even if the Dao Ruins sacred sect wanted to deal with him, Babilai wouldn't easily compromise. Not long after Mo Qingyun left the spatial ghost pagoda, the second round of the examination ended. Following the end of the second round of the examination, everyone in the spatial ghost pagoda came out. Looks like you've gained quite a lot in the past few days in the spatial ghost pagoda. Mo Qingyun greeted Gu Hao with a faint smile when he saw Gu Hao walking in front of him. Gu Hao didn't hide anything from Mo Qingyun and said with a faint smile, "Thanks to senior brother Mo's help, I've successfully comprehended a law in the spatial ghost pagoda. I'll be able to break through to the late-stage void realm in, at most, a year. Good luck." Mo Qingyun gave Gu Hao an encouraging gaze when he heard this. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Gu Hao were talking, the elder in charge of the examination said in a clear voice, "All those who pass the second round of the examination will follow me to the inner court drill grounds." As soon as the old man finished speaking, he led the way. "In that case, I'll be heading over first. If there's anything, wait for me to return." Mo Qingyun wasn't willing to waste time when he heard this, and he left after instructing Gu Hao. Gu Hao didn't think too much about Mo Qingyun's instructions and immediately nodded in response. Not long after, under the guidance of the elder, everyone arrived at an enormous square. At this moment, many people were already seated around the square, and they seemed to be waiting for a good show. There were over 100 disciples standing silently at the center of the square, and all of them had arrogant and cold expressions on their faces. Oomph. A group of fellows that been eliminated actually dare to be so arrogant. Senior Brother Gu is right. A group of trash that's been eliminated. We'll let them know how formidable we are later. Some people by Gu Tian's side flattered Gu Tian as they looked at the people at the center of the drill grounds. Gu Tian raised his head in enjoyment when he heard the words of these people, and he had a complacent expression. While Gu Tian was feeling complacent in his heart, he glanced at Mo Qingyun with a gloomy expression in his eyes. When he sensed Gu Tian's gaze, Mo Qingyun gave him a simple glance before paying no further attention to Gu Tian. Mo Qingyun withdrew his gaze and looked at the people at the center of the square to sense their strengths. Even though these fellows were eliminated from the inner court, their strengths couldn't be underestimated. Under Mo Qingyun's perception, he noticed that the strengths of these people were basically at the advanced stage of the universe realm. Only a few of them were at the intermediate stage of the universe realm. Looks like the inner court disciples are much more valuable than the outer court disciples. Just some of the eliminated disciples had already attained such a cultivation, let alone the other disciples. Chapter 2756. Quiet down. Now, let me tell you the rules of the third round of assessment. The elder in charge of the assessment shouted and stopped everyone from whispering. He said coldly, "This time, there are some changes compared to the previous batches. There are only 50 disciples in total, which is half of the previous batches." Hearing the elder's words, Both the eliminated inner disciples and the outer disciples who participated in the assessment had their expressions changed. At this moment, the expressions on their faces instantly became tense. In other words, the difficulty of becoming an inner disciple had doubled. Looking at the solemn expressions of the crowd, the elder in charge of the assessment did not stop talking. He continued, "Although the number of people who advance this time has decreased, there is an additional reward for this inner disciple assessment." Everyone's interest was piqued, and they all looked expectant. For this inner disciple recruitment, the top 10 can enter the spatial ghost tower once. The first place can enter the space-time demonic tower once. Under everyone's expectant gazes, the elder in charge of the assessment announced the reward for this assessment. Hearing the rewards of the inner disciple assessment, everyone's face was filled with shock, and their faces were filled with astonishment. What? The first place of the inner disciple assessment can enter the space-time demonic tower once. No wonder Yi Long was eliminated from the inner disciple assessment with his strength. It seems like he got the news long ago and deliberately lowered his ranking. And that Li Dong, who was the first place of the outer disciple assessment in the previous batch, must have deliberately lowered his ranking. These cunning guys, so they had such a plan. It's not that they have exhausted their talent. Some of the inner disciples around said indignantly. In their opinion, whether it was Yi Long, Li Dong, or the rest, they were deliberately eliminated. The first place of the inner disciple assessment can enter the space-time demonic tower once. Hearing the elder in charge of the assessment, Mo Qingyun was shocked and looked expectant. He did not expect that there would be such a reward for this inner disciple assessment. If he was the first place of the inner disciple assessment, wouldn't he be able to enter the space-time demonic tower? In that case, it would save him a lot of trouble. I must get the first place of the inner disciple assessment. Mo Qingyun clenched his fists and silently made up his mind. His eyes were filled with determination. After talking about the rewards, the elder in charge of the complex assessment continued. The third round of assessment is divided into two parts. The first part is the elimination round, and the second part is the ranking round. There are a total of 100 inner disciples who have been eliminated this time. Next, they will be divided into 20 groups to take the test with the outer disciples. Following the elder's words, everyone was divided into 25 groups. In each group, there were 5 inner disciples who had been eliminated and 20 outer disciples who had participated in the assessment. When the examinees were divided into groups, the central area of the drill ground was divided into 20 sections. Seeing that everything was ready, the elder in charge of the complex test had a solemn expression. He said in a clear voice, "The competition will now begin. You all will engage in a chaotic battle. You're not allowed to bully others with numbers. The last 5 people remaining in the area will advance." Hearing the elder's words, Mo Qingyun and the others no longer hesitated and immediately attacked the people around them. For a time, a chaotic battle began, and the scene was incomparably lively. "You're just a quasi-universe realm brat. Get out of here." Seeing Mo Qingyun's cultivation, an inner disciple who had been eliminated walked over with a sneer. Seeing this person's actions, the outer sect disciples were all shocked and felt sympathy for that person. This guy was really courting death. He actually wanted to find trouble with Mo Qingyun. "Get out of here." Seeing that person walking towards him, Mo Qingyun did not waste any time and directly threw a punch at him. Then a violent sacred energy aura erupted from Mo Qingyun's body. A fist aura surged out and instantly engulfed that person, emitting a shocking sound. Boom! That person was sent flying. His face was pale as he looked at Mo Qingyun in horror. With just one punch, he had been defeated and lost the ability to continue fighting. This result was hard for him to accept, and a strong sense of depression rose in his heart. He really did not expect that a quasi-universe realm cultivator would be so powerful. This person's rapid defeat immediately attracted the attention of the others, and they immediately turned their attention to Mo Qingyun. That brat is so strong. He's not any weaker than the veteran inner disciples. I heard that his name is Mo Qingyun. Not long ago, he defeated all the outer disciples. This brat is a little difficult to deal with. Let's not provoke him for the time being. The remaining 4 inner disciples looked at Mo Qingyun solemnly. From the scene just now, they could see that Mo Qingyun was not someone to be trifled with. If they wanted to eliminate Mo Qingyun, it would be extremely risky. There was no need for them to do so. Immediately, these few people decided not to find trouble with Mo Qingyun. As for the other outer disciples, they knew that Mo Qingyun was powerful, so naturally they would not court death. As a result, Mo Qingyun became idle and only needed to wait for his advancement. Mo Qingyun did not care about this, and he looked at the other battle areas. After observing for a while, Mo Qingyun realized that something was wrong. He realized that some of the inner disciples were extremely strong, far stronger than the outer disciples. Strange. Given their strength, they shouldn't have been eliminated, right? When Mo Qingyun saw the abnormality, he felt confused. He did not understand what was going on. Mo Qingyun thought for a while and thought of a possibility. He exclaimed, "Could it be that they are purposely eliminating themselves for the reward of this assessment?" Mo Qingyun nodded his head in understanding. He felt that this should be the case. Next, Mo Qingyun silently waited for the first stage of the elimination round to end. A few hours passed very quickly. After a few hours of competition, the elimination round ended, and a total of 400 people were eliminated. Seeing that 100 people had advanced, the elders in charge of the assessment started to count. Not long after, the elder in charge of the assessment stood up and glanced at the 100 people who had advanced. He said, "Come over and draw lots. You will be eliminated in the next round." After hearing the elder's words, Mo Qingyun and the others did not hesitate and went forward to draw lots to determine their opponents. 23. Looking at the lot he had drawn, Mo Qingyun squinted his eyes. He wanted to see who his opponent was. Mo Qingyun looked around and found his opponent. It was a young man at the middle stage of the universe realm. He was also an inner disciple who had been eliminated. However, based on his performance, he should be much stronger than the person Mo Qingyun had defeated. Chapter 2757. Isn't that senior brother Li Dong? He's going to fight with senior brother Mo? The previous top outer court disciple is going to fight with the current top outer court disciple. Interesting. This Li Dong has always been hiding his strength. I wonder who's stronger between him and Mo Qingyun. I think Li Dong is stronger. After all, there's a difference of a major realm between them. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Li Dong, the crowd chatted with interest. In their opinion, a fight between 2 top outer court disciples was quite interesting. "You're Mo Qingyun?" Looking at Mo Qingyun, Li Dong was surprised. "I originally thought that the person who defeated Gu Tian would be at the late stage of the universe realm. I didn't expect that you're only at the quasi-universe realm. I'm really surprised." Mo Qingyun was unmoved. With an indifferent expression, he said, "Are you done chatting? You don't even have this little bit of patience. You're far inferior to Gu Tian in this aspect." Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Li Dong put on a lecturing attitude and belittled Mo Qingyun. He said, "You're not my match. Don't embarrass yourself unnecessarily. Admit defeat." Admit defeat? Hearing Li Dong's words, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but smile. "In my opinion, you're far inferior to Gu Tian. At least he doesn't talk as much as you. Since you're asking for trouble, I'll grant you your wish." Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Li Dong shouted angrily and threw a palm at Mo Qingyun. As Li Dong waved his palm, a shocking saint energy exploded from his body. The terrifying saint energy transformed into a palm shadow that tore at Mo Qingyun at high speed. It was a domineering move. Break! Facing Li Dong's palm, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless and immediately slashed at it with his sword. Mo Qingyun waved the 9-bull divine sword and immediately released a dazzling sword light that blasted at the palm. Pucci! Under the bombardment of the sword light, the palm shadow was instantly blasted apart, and cracks appeared on it. Not long after, the palm's shadow dissipated and turned into pure power. You have some skills. Seeing Mo Qingyun attack, Li Dong was not surprised. Once again, he clawed at Mo Qingyun. Following that, two more terrifying bursts of Saint energy blasted out from Li Dong's palms. Taiji Space, Tearing Palm. One yin and one yang. Two completely different auras formed a huge palm shadow. The palm shadow tore at the void and tore a hole in the space, creating a terrifying spatial storm. When this spatial storm appeared, it raged towards Mo Qingyun, seemingly wanting to tear Mo Qingyun to shreds. Not only that, when the spatial storm attacked Mo Qingyun, the palm shadow also tore at his chest. If they were to be torn apart, they would basically lose their ability to fight. Kid, it's time for our battle to end. Seeing the palm shadow close in on Mo Qingyun, Li Dong's face was filled with pride, as if he had already defeated Mo Qingyun. Looking at Li Dong's performance, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and said, "You think too highly of yourself if you think you can defeat me with this." As Mo Qingyun spoke, the distance between him and the palm shadow and the spatial storm increased by a lot. Immediately, Mo Qingyun's crisis was resolved. After resolving Li Dong's attack, Mo Qingyun did not stop and immediately swung his sword at him. A sword light blasted out, piercing through the sky and slashing towards Li Dong. The sword light shot out, and in the process of approaching Li Dong, its speed suddenly increased by several degrees. In the blink of an eye, the sword light was in front of Li Dong, leaving him with no way to dodge. The law of space compression. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword, Li Dong was stunned and realized that he had underestimated his opponent. Immediately, he no longer hesitated and immediately released a law. However, although Li Dong's law was released, it did not change the situation in front of him. How could this be? Seeing that his law of space expansion did not have any effect, Li Dong's face changed drastically, and he said in shock, "His understanding of the law of space expansion is above mine. He forcefully resolved my law power." Thinking of this, Li Dong's face turned pale, and he quickly dodged the sword light's attack. However, just as he was about to dodge, he suddenly realized that the space around him was confined. The law of space imprisonment. Realizing that the space around him was confined, Li Dong's face kept twitching. In this way, he could not dodge and could only take Mo Qingyun's attack head-on. Tai Chi Claw. Li Dong bent his hands slightly, and Saint Power surged in his palms, forming two claw shadows. Immediately, Li Dong waved his claws and frantically attacked the approaching sword light. However, what shocked him was that no matter how he attacked, the sword light did not change at all. Soon, the sword light pierced through the claw shadows and landed directly on his shoulder. Pucci. Under the attack of the sword light, Li Dong's shoulder was immediately penetrated and his body flew backward. Li Dong flew backward for 100 meters before he stabilized his body and spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, his aura had weakened greatly. It seemed like he could no longer fight. "I lost." Seeing this result, Li Dong's eyes widened. He couldn't believe that he had been defeated by Mo Qingyun with just a single sword strike. After all, he was once the #1 outer disciple. Even Gu Tian was no match for him. Even if Mo Qingyun could defeat Gu Tian, it should not be so easy to defeat him. What made him want to vomit blood was that now that he was defeated by Mo Qingyun, he was once again an outer disciple. Looking at the dazed Li Dong, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "You're quite strong. You can continue to be the #1 outer disciple." After saying this, Mo Qingyun ignored Li Dong and walked to the side. Next, Mo Qingyun watched the others fight and waited for the second round of elimination to end. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he noticed something. Even the inner disciples who were eliminated were not to be underestimated. They were not something that ordinary outer disciples could compare to. In this round of competition, there were only a dozen or so outer disciples who were truly eliminated. There was a reason for such a situation. That was, many of these inner disciples who were eliminated did it on purpose. The reason they were eliminated was to be the number one inner disciple in the test. No matter how strong you are, the number one in the test is still mine. Looking around, Emo Qingyun's expression was solemn as he clenched his fists again. Not long after, under Emo Qingyun's waiting, the second round of elimination ended. Following the end of the second round of elimination, the elder in charge of the test walked forward and said to Emo Qingyun and the others, "The 50 people who advanced will rest for 15 minutes before the second round of the ranking competition." Hearing the elder in charge of the test, Emo Qingyun and the others did not think too much and immediately immersed themselves in recovering. A quarter of an hour passed quickly. Chapter 2758. The rules of the ranking battle are simple. Everyone will fight with the others once, and the person who wins the most will be ranked higher. Seeing that the break was over, the elder in charge of the assessment walked out and explained the rules of the ranking battle. Hearing the exam elder's words, Emo Qingyun immediately understood the method of this round of examination. Everyone would fight with the others once. It was a fair battle. In this way, there would be no such thing as luck. Everyone's opponent would be the same. Now, I'll call out the names of the candidates for the first round. After explaining the rules, the elder in charge of the assessment did not stop talking and began to count the names of the participants. The first round, Yilong versus Wu Qing. The second round, Yi Luo versus Zhou Jin. The third round, Wu Ronghai versus Zhuo Guxin. The fourth round, Tuoba versus Li Rongxin. The fifth round, Han Chu versus Ma Guang. After the elder in charge of the assessment called out the names of the 10 people, they did not hesitate and immediately walked into their respective arenas. Among the 5 people, Yi Long, Yi Luo, Mo Ronghai, Tuoba, and Han Chu were all inner disciples who had been selected. Each of them was at the late stage of the universe realm, and they were not as simple as they looked. Han Chu, that name sounds familiar. Where have I heard it before? Han Chu was the number 1 outer disciple 2 years ago. It seems like he was eliminated on purpose. 20 years ago, Tuoba did not lose a single battle with a peak universe realm expert. It's suspicious that he was eliminated. Wu Ronghai is not simple either. He's the grandson of Wu Xiaoheng, the great elder of the outer sect. Yi Long is the most powerful among them. He once made it to the top 100 in the Heavenly Devil Palace. Damn, why do all these people who were eliminated have great backgrounds? Recognizing the contestant, the surrounding people were all shocked. At this moment, they suddenly realized that there was something wrong with these people being eliminated. The first round was on the ground. "You should admit defeat," Yi Long said coldly as he looked at his opponent. Hearing Yi Long's words, Wu Qing panicked a little, but he was unwilling to admit defeat. Even if Yi Long was strong, it was impossible for him to admit defeat. He had to fight no matter what. Seeing through Wu Qing's thoughts, Yi Long shook his head and raised his hand to point at him. With a flash of his finger, he disappeared before everyone's eyes and appeared right before Wu Qing. Seeing the finger beam approaching, Wu Qing's expression trembled, but it was already too late for him to dodge. Then, Wu Qing flew out unwillingly. He didn't even have the chance to attack. The second arena, falling leaves of 1,000 years. Before Zhou Jin could react, Ye Luo had already stabbed out with his sword, sending out a dazzling sword beam. The sword light blasted out and engulfed Zhou Jin with the force of a thunderbolt. Facing Ye Luo's sword, Zhou Jin was defeated in a domineering manner, even though he had used all his skills. The strength of the two was on a completely different level. In the third arena, the situation was the same as in the first and second arenas. Zhuo Guxin was powerless in front of Wu Ronghai. Wu Ronghai was like a berserk wild beast as he sent Zhuo Guxin flying in a berserk manner. The fourth arena, although the battle between Tuoba and Li Rongxin did not end in one move, it was still decided within 3 moves. The fifth arena, I didn't expect it to be you. I admit defeat. When Han Chu was still an outer sect disciple, he was from the same generation as Ma Guang. Ma Guang was very clear about his strength. Hence, When he saw that his opponent was Han Chu, Ma Guang directly chose to admit defeat. This way, the first 5 matches ended with the veteran intersect disciples winning all. Seeing that the first 5 matches ended, the elder in charge of the test walked out and announced the candidates for the next matches. The first arena, He-Man versus Gu Tian. The second arena, Ren Xiong versus Zhou Yi. The third arena, Wang Hui versus Zhao Han. The fourth arena, Mu Shan versus Chun Yunpeng. The fifth arena, Jia Bao versus Lin Jiao. Hearing the elder call out their names, the 10 people quickly entered the arena and faced each other in pairs. Sweeping his gaze across the 10 people in the arena, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He revealed a hint of surprise on his face as he said, "Gu Tian is interested in He-Man." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He watched the battle between Gu Tian and He-Man with interest. He-Man's strength was pretty good, reaching the late-stage universe realm. He wasn't an ordinary intersect disciple either. Looks like his elimination was also intentional. From the looks of it, these people should have received the news beforehand that they were eliminated. Receiving the news of the test rewards beforehand was enough to prove that Yi Long and the others who were eliminated had powerful backgrounds. With a powerful background, how could their strength be weak? The cultivation technique that He-Man cultivated was a body refinement technique with a violent aura, allowing him to possess a shocking physique. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, he discovered that He-Man's physical strength was comparable to a mid-grade universe realm weapon. Speaking of which, He-Man's physical strength was even stronger than Mo Qingyun's. I wonder if Gu Tian can win against such an opponent. Seeing He-Man's situation, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression. He wanted to know the result of the battle between the two. In the previous battle, the strength that Gu Tian displayed wasn't weak. No matter how strong your physique is, I'll still split you apart. Sweeping his gaze across He-Man, Gu Tian snorted coldly and took out a sharp saber with an imposing aura. With the saber in hand, Gu Tian activated his bloodline power and raised his combat strength to the limit. Spatial compression, spatial shattering. Gu Tian didn't hold back as soon as he attacked, and his violent aura bombarded He-Man. Facing Gu Tian's frenzied attacks, He-Man immediately fell into a passive state and was beaten under Gu Tian's attacks. He-Man persisted for over 100 moves before he was finally unable to bear the burden and was sent flying by Gu Tian's saber. Because of this, he became the first senior inner court disciple to be defeated by a new inner court disciple. He-Man's expression was extremely unsightly when faced with such an outcome, and he retreated indignantly. After defeating He-Man, Gu Tian revealed a complacent expression and raised his head provocatively at Mo Qingyun. Clearly, he was showing off to Mo Qingyun about his battle achievements just now. Mo Qingyun didn't pay any attention to Gu Tian's performance, and his gaze looked towards the other arenas. In next to no time, the battles in the other 4 arenas ended. Ren Xiong, Wang Hui, Mu Shan, and Jia Bao were victorious. In this way, after 10 battles, only He-Man, a senior inner court disciple, was defeated. The appearance of such a situation caused him to feel even more embarrassed. After that, a wisp of sympathy surged into the gazes of everyone when they looked at He-Man. Seeing that the second round of battles had ended, the testing elder immediately walked out and announced the candidates for the third round of battles. First round, Mo Qingyun against Huang Fan. Second round, Wu Li against a single element. Third round, Dou Ming against Kai Sun. Fourth round, Fan Feng against Xielang. Fifth round, Xiao Jin against Wang Fuan. When they heard the testing elder, Mo Qingyun and the others immediately stood up and walked into the arena. Chapter 2759. Huang Fan was a veteran inner sect disciple, but his cultivation wasn't high. He was only at the mid-stage universe realm. Compared to Yi Long and the others, his strength was at the bottom. My luck is really good to meet a quasi-universe realm kid. After sensing Mo Qingyun's cultivation, Huang Fan sneered proudly, as though he had struck a bargain. After carefully sizing up Mo Qingyun, Huang Fan became even more smug. Kid, don't say that I'm bullying you. I'll give you a chance to admit defeat now. Cut the crap. Let's fight. He-Man is still waiting for you to accompany him. Mo Qingyun rejected Huang Fan's suggestion and replied coldly, Don't worry. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Huang Fan immediately understood what he meant. Mo Qingyun was telling him that he would be defeated by a new inner sect disciple, just like He-Man. More importantly, Mo Qingyun's cultivation was only at the quasi-universe realm. If he was really defeated by Mo Qingyun, he would be humiliated even more than He-Man soon. You will regret your choice, but it will be too late. Huang Fan shouted angrily. He took out a long spear and stabbed it at Mo Qingyun. As Huang Fan waved the long spear, it emitted a dazzling blue light and an icy aura. Under the envelopment of this aura, it seemed as though space was about to freeze. Your aura is not bad, but it's still not enough. In the face of Huang Fan's attack, Mo Qingyun wasn't afraid at all. He held the Nine-Bull Divine sword in his hand. When the Nine-Bull Divine sword landed in his hand, a terrifying flame energy erupted from it. Not only that, but an even more violent flame energy also erupted from Mo Qingyun's body. Under the influence of these two flame energies, Huang Fan's aura was immediately restrained. At this moment, Huang Fan gave off the feeling that he had met his nemesis. Flaming bull-bursting flame slash. Mo Qingyun took out the divine sword of 9 oxen. He slashed out with his sword, and a ball of terrifying fire erupted. The fiery light left the 9-bull divine sword and turned into a huge fiery bull, charging toward Huang Fan. Dong, 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 dong. Under the flaming bull's mad dash, it was as if space was being trampled through, emitting a series of deafening noises. In the blink of an eye, the firebull was right in front of Huang Fan. Its sharp horns seemed like they were about to pierce through his body. What a powerful sword move! Seeing the might of Mo Qingyun's sword, Huang Fan's expression trembled and his face turned pale. Huang Fan was, after all, a universe-rel powerhouse. Even though he was panicking, he still reacted immediately. Stars and moon intertwined. Huang Fan's right hand flicked and the spear in his hand stabbed out several times, blasting out spear shadows one after another. The spear's shadow was like the stars and the bright moon as it collided with the flaming bull sword light, intending to pierce through it. It pierced through. Seeing the spear penetrate the ox shadow, Huang Fan's expression turned joyful. He revealed an excited smile and said, So, you are only SOSO. No matter how powerful your sword technique is, it will still be broken by my spear. Roar. While Huang Fan was feeling smug, the flaming bull sword light's attack did not diminish and showed no signs of dissipating. Seeing this, Huang Fan's expression immediately trembled and his face was filled with shock. This situation had greatly exceeded his expectations, and he found it hard to accept. Bang! Under Huang Fan's shocked gaze, the flaming bull sword light hit him and exploded with a terrifying force. Being hit by this force, Huang Fan was immediately sent flying. His blood and qi surged in his body. Puff! Huang Fan fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. He had lost the ability to continue fighting. Then he looked at Mo Qingyun in the first arena with a horrified gaze and said, This kid is so powerful. I'm afraid only Yilong and the others can defeat him. Huang Fan cursed in his heart. Then he walked towards He-Man's side with a sense of unwillingness. Seeing that Huang Fan had also been defeated, and so thoroughly, He-Man's expression turned for the better. To him, Huang Fan's straightforward defeat could share some of the ridicule for him. Not long after Mo Qingyun defeated Huang Fan, the battles in the other arenas had ended. To Mo Qingyun's surprise, the battles in the other 4 arenas were not one-sided. In the battle between Fan Feng and Xielang, Xielang won. It was another case of a new disciple winning. As Mo Qingyun's battle in the 5th group ended, the invigilating elder began to call out the remaining 5 groups. In the next 5 groups, the veteran inner disciples and the new disciples had their own victories and defeats. Generally speaking, the veteran inner disciples had a higher winning rate and showed their profound foundation. Of course, there was another reason for this situation. That was, none of the veteran inner disciples before him were simple people. As the fifth round of battles ended, the first round of the round-robin battle was desolate. Half of the participants obtained the first victory while the other half lost. Rest for 15 minutes, and we will begin the second round of the round-robin battle. Seeing that the first round of the round-robin battle had ended, the invigilating elder instructed everyone. Hearing the invigilating elder's words, everyone did not hesitate and immediately went to rest. 15 minutes quickly passed. As the rest time ended, the second round of the round-robin battle began. In the second round of the round-robin battle, Mo Qingyun's opponent was still at the mid-stage of the universe realm. In the face of such an enemy, Mo Qingyun defeated him effortlessly. Half a day later, the 39th round of the round-robin battle was completed in an orderly manner. There were a total of 90 people who maintained a 39-win streak. They were Yilong, Yiluo, Tuobod, Han Shu, Wang Hui, Mushan, Jiabao, Dou Ming, Mo Qingyun, and Gu Tian. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that Gu Tian also had a 39-win streak. At this moment, only Mo Qingyun and Gu Tian were still maintaining successive victories amongst the new disciples. If I meet you later, I will definitely defeat you. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was beside him, Gu Tian was unconvinced, and he glared fiercely at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't mind Gu Tian's gaze at all, and he said indifferently, "If you meet me later, you will only lose even faster." Gu Tian grunted coldly and didn't speak any further. Mo Qingyun paid no attention to Gu Tian's performance, and he looked calmly at the invigilating elder. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, the invigilating elder glanced at him and Gu Tian, and then he said, "The next people to fight are Mo Qingyun and Gu Tian." Gu Tian and Mo Qingyun were stunned when they heard the invigilating elder, and they revealed surprised expressions. I never expected that it would actually be my turn to meet Gu Tian, and this is truly surprising. After arguing with Gu Tian earlier, it was actually the time for a real battle. After being slightly surprised, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much about it, and he casually walked towards the arena. When he saw Mo Qingyun walking towards the arena, Gu Tian didn't hesitate and immediately followed closely behind Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2760. I was careless the last time, and that's why I lost to you. This time, I'll redeem myself. As he gazed at Mo Qingyun, Gu Tian's face went dark, and he emitted an icy cold aura. After that, a profound and powerful energy erupted from his body. Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain when he saw Gu Tian's actions, and he smiled indifferently. Only a useless piece of trash would look for excuses like you and say that you were careless after losing. Gu Tian was immediately exasperated when he heard Mo Qingyun, and he gnashed his teeth. After that, he didn't continue arguing and excuse himself for his loss. Stop dilly-dallying. If you want to redeem yourself, then quickly bring it on. Mo Qingyun seemed to be slightly impatient when he saw Gu Tian still not making a move, and he urged Gu Tian. Under Mo Qingyun's urging, Gu Tian roared furiously, and he swung his saber down towards Mo Qingyun. When Gu Tian's saber slashed down, the heavens and the earth instantly changed color, and space trembled as numerous cracks appeared. Based on the commotion before their eyes, Gu Tian's saber seemed to want to split space into two. This kid's strength is so strong, and it's comparable to the top 10,000 experts of the Sky Devil Palace. He really can't be underestimated, as expected of the former #1 expert of the Earth Devil Tower. I wonder how Mo Qingyun will deal with such an attack. Everyone revealed shocked expressions when they saw the combat strength Gu Tian revealed, and they whispered in discussion at the side. Under the curious gazes of everyone, Mo Qingyun's expression remained unchanged as he withdrew the divine Nine-Bull sword. When the divine Nine-Bull sword entered his hand, it instantly erupted with a shocking aura that caused the surrounding space to tremble. It seemed as if the surrounding space was about to be unable to bear the heavy burden under Mo Qingyun's aura. The surrounding people were instantly shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance, and all of them stared their eyes wide open. Disregarding combat strength, merely Mo Qingyun's aura was sufficient to cause their hearts to tremble. Break! With a wave of the Nine-Bull divine sword, a golden light surged out and turned into a golden bull shadow. The golden ox shadow was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it collided with the saber light and split it into two. Gu Tian's face immediately shook when he saw this scene, and a wisp of shock flashed in his eyes. Compared to the last time they fought, the strength Mo Qingyun displayed this time was undoubtedly much stronger. Ignore defense, space compression, space imprisonment. Mo Qingyun's attack didn't slow down after he destroyed the saber light with a single strike, and he slashed it towards Gu Tianyi once more. The Nine-Oxen Divine Sword was raised by Mo Qingyun, and it blossomed with dazzling lightning radiance and directly rushed into the sky. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was like the Thunder Sword God, controlling the nine heavens' divine thunder to punish all living beings. Chop! The Nine-Bull divine sword fell, and the terrifying lightning that shot into the sky turned into a violent thunderbolt. The lightning bull rushed out and rapidly approached Gu Tian in a berserk manner. So strong. Gu Tian's expression shook when he saw the lightning bull's aura, and he felt a chill. At this moment, he suddenly realized how strong Mo Qingyun was. Green Lotus Slash. Even though Gu Tian was panicking in his heart, he didn't hesitate and immediately slashed his saber at the lightning bull. A profound and powerful energy erupted from his body, and it quickly converged on the saber. After that, this terrifying energy tilted out from the saber, and it transformed into an azure lotus flower. The azure lotus flower flew out, and its petals fluttered down one after another, and they transformed into numerous lotus flower saber lights. Hiss! 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 The lotus flower saber lights struck the lightning bull, and it immediately emitted an ear-piercing sound. However, the lightning bull's attack didn't weaken much when facing the lotus flower saber lights. In next to no time, the lightning bull arrived before Gu Tian, and it domineeringly collided with him. Bang! Gu Tian was immediately blasted away from the lightning bull's attack, and he flew out of the first arena. When Gu Tian stabilized his body, a strand of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, and his face became extremely pale. After that, he revealed an unwilling expression, and he glared coldly at Mo Qingyun. He was defeated again. Moreover, compared to the previous battle, he was defeated even more miserably this time. Gu Tian was defeated? He was defeated in just one move? Mo Qingyun's strength is really too terrifying. Even with Gu Tian's strength, he couldn't take a single move from him. His strength is comparable to the top 1,000 of the Heavenly Devil Palace. Top 1,000? He just became an inner core disciple. He's too monstrous. Everyone's faces were filled with shock when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the crowd's shock, and he left the first arena after defeating Gu Tian. When Mo Qingyun walked out of the first arena, the second arena's battle had ended. Night Dragon also used a single move to send his opponent flying. The surrounding people were shocked when they saw Night Dragon's performance, and they exclaimed in surprise. Night Dragon is indeed Night Dragon. His strength is as strong as ever. I didn't expect that with Mushan's strength, he couldn't take a single move from him. It's not that Mushan can't take a single move. It's just that no one can take a single move from him. The surrounding onlookers were discussing Night Dragon. Night Dragon raised his head proudly when he felt everyone's respectful gaze. He looked at Mo Qingyun and said, "You're quite strong. You could take 3 moves from me." Mo Qingyun stopped when he heard Night Dragon's words and looked at him indifferently. Mo Qingyun didn't say anything and walked to the side calmly. Night Dragon didn't pester Mo Qingyun when he saw that Mo Qingyun didn't say anything. However, his gaze became colder. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun was asking for a beating by treating him with such an attitude. "Oof, I'll teach you a lesson when we fight." Night Dragon muttered to himself and left the second arena to wait for the next round to begin. When Night Dragon left the arena, the fourth arena's battle ended first in the third and fifth arenas. "You can't even withstand a single blow." Han Chu curled his lips in disdain when he saw the person he had defeated. "Do you really think that I'm the same as you? You're too naive." Han Chu muttered to himself and walked out of the third arena with an arrogant look on his face. When Han Chu left the arena, he glanced at Mo Qingyun and Night Dragon with a provocative look. Seeing Han Chu's action, the sneer on Night Dragon's face deepened. He said, "It seems that I haven't fought for a long time, so some Tom, Dick, and Harry dares to jump in front of me. Fine, I'll make you suffer in the fight later." After Yi Long finished speaking, he didn't say anything else and closed his eyes to rest. While Night Dragon and the others were competing, the battles in the third and fifth arenas also came to an end. Unsurprisingly, Yi Luo and Tuobada won and ended the battle within 10 moves. After going through so many rounds of battle, these people with real ability had all displayed their sharpness. As they displayed their strength, the ordinary inner disciple assessment suddenly became intense. Chapter 2761. As time passed, the battles continued one after another. After another 49 rounds of the round-robin matches, only 7 people were left with complete victories. They were Yi Long, Yi Luo, Tuo Bode, Wang Hui, Do Ming, Han Chu, and Mo Qingyun. Compared to Mo Qingyun's consecutive victories, Gu Tian was more unlucky and lost to Yi Long again. The break is over. Seeing that the break time was over, the invigilating elder shouted and announced the candidates for the competition. First match, Mo Qingyun versus Han Chu. Second match, Yi Luo versus Gu Tian. Third match, Tuo Bode versus Sun Jie. Fourth match, Wang Hui versus Jin Sui. Fifth match, Jia Bao versus Wang Feng. As the trial elder finished speaking, the expressions of the surrounding people immediately became excited. Mo Qingyun versus Han Chu. This match is very interesting. The old number 1 outer sect disciple and the new number 1 outer sect disciple. I'm really looking forward to it. I wonder who is stronger. I think Mo Qingyun is more likely. I'm the opposite. I think Han Chu is stronger. His foundation is much deeper than Mo Qingyun's. Everyone had their own opinions about Mo Qingyun and Han Chu's strength. Under everyone's expectant gaze, the two of them walked into the first match and faced each other coldly. This time, I'll let everyone know that I'm the strongest outer sect disciple. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of him, Han Chu had a confident expression on his face as he spoke his thoughts. As long as he defeated Mo Qingyun, it would be enough to prove to everyone that he was the strongest outer sect disciple. No matter what the result was, proving that he was the strongest outer sect disciple was also a special honor. Hearing Han Chu's words, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and mocked. "So that's all you have? You've been promoted to an inner sect disciple for so long, but you're still thinking about being the strongest outer sect disciple in the past. Looks like your achievements in this life are limited." "You." Mo Qingyun's mocking made Han Chu speechless. Mo Qingyun was right. He had been promoted to an inner sect disciple for so long, but he was still thinking about his past glory. This kind of behavior was indeed not promising. As the saying goes, a real man does not boast about his past achievements. Indeed, being the number 1 outer disciple in the past was nothing to boast about. If I were you, I would be thinking about fighting for first place in the inner sect. Seeing that Han Chu was at a loss for words, Mo Qingyun did not stop talking and said something that was full of fighting spirit. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of the surrounding people changed, and the way they looked at him changed greatly. This Mo Qing Yun is really arrogant. He just became an inner disciple, and he already wants to be number one. I think it's a good thing that he has fighting spirit. Could he be like Han, Chu, and Li Dong? That's right. Cultivation is going against the will of the heavens. One must advance courageously and diligently. It's good to have fighting spirit, but you have to know your own limits. You can't bite off more than you can chew. Regarding Mo Qingyun's words, everyone had different opinions. Hearing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Han Chu suddenly felt confused and vaguely realized that he had gone astray. For the sake of a spot in the space-time demonic pagoda, he did not hesitate to be eliminated by the inner sect. This behavior was too depraved. Mo Qingyun was right. He should work hard and advance courageously to fight for the top 10 of the inner sect disciples and obtain a spot to enter the space-time demonic pagoda. Stop dawdling. If you want to prove yourself, let's see who's the real deal. Seeing that Han Chu was a little distracted, Mo Qingyun urged him and chose to make the first move. He did not have any friendship with Han Chu and did not want to enlighten him. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, defeating Han Chu earlier would also allow him to end the test earlier. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he swung the divine nine-bull sword and slashed out an imposing sword beam. Ignore defense, spatial compression, spatial imprisonment. With the support of the three laws, the power of the divine nine-bull sword was immediately raised to the extreme. In the blink of an eye, the sword beam arrived in front of Han Chu and enveloped him. His sword beam is strange. I can't take it head-on. Recalling Mo Qingyun's attack, Han Chu's heart trembled, and he did not dare to take the sword beam head-on. With that thought in mind, Han Chu slapped out a palm to his left. Earth-shattering green rainbow palm. Space shattered. Under Han Chu's palm, the space around him shattered, and he immediately dodged. As Han Chu dodged, he narrowly avoided the sharp sword gleam that was slashing at him. You can't dodge. Seeing Han Chu's performance, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He was not surprised. In the past, Han Chu could become the number one in the outer sect. It proved that he indeed had some ability and was considered a genius. In that case, he naturally had some capital and would not be easily defeated by Mo Qingyun. Weren't you very arrogant just now? Why are you dodging now? As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure moved and arrived in front of Han Chu. Blocking Han Chu's path, Mo Qingyun's movements did not stop and directly stabbed a sword at him. Mo Qingyun's move was very fast. The sword beam arrived in an instant, attacking until Han Chu's expression changed repeatedly. Mo Qingyun's sword move was too strong. He did not dare to take it head-on and kept dodging himself. It was just that what gave him a headache was that Mo Qingyun's control of spatial laws was far more thorough than his comprehension. Under Mo Qingyun's power of laws, his laws were restrained everywhere, causing him to fall into a passive state and take a beating. To think that under Mo Qingyun's attack, Han Chu can only take a beating passively. This Mo Qingyun's strength is actually powerful to such an extent. Looks like there's no suspense in their battle. Han Chu will lose without a doubt. Seeing Han Chu's performance, everyone could not help sighing emotionally. Indeed, under Mo Qingyun's continuous attacks, a loophole appeared in Han Chu's defense. Good chance. Seeing Han Chu's defense negligence, Mo Qingyun grasped the opportunity and stabbed a sword into Han Chu's chest. Under Mo Qingyun's sword, Han Chu immediately flew out backward, leaving the first fighting arena. Through this, Mo Qingyun proved to everyone that he was the strongest outer sect number one among the few people. I feel that you can return to the outer sect and continue competing for the outer sect number one with Li Dong. After defeating Han Chu, a faint smile surfaced at the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth as he mocked him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Chu's face turned black, producing a strong anger. But now that he was defeated by Mo Qingyun, he also did not have the face to refute. Humph, wait and see. Han Chu snorted coldly and walked to the side, not speaking anymore. Seeing that Han Chu did not speak, Mo Qingyun also ignored him and walked out of the first arena. Not long after Mo Qingyun duo's battle ended, Gu Tian duo's battle also ended. He was defeated by Ye Luo domineeringly. Through this, Gu Tian tasted defeat again, making him very furious in his heart. This created a stark contrast between him and Mo Qingyun, because his continuous defeats accentuated Mo Qingyun's might even more. Thinking up to here, Gu Tian's face became even darker, producing a strong anger. Chapter 2762. The battles continued. During this period, some people won and some lost. Yi Long and Ye Luo had the most shocking performances. Under their attacks, their opponents couldn't last more than 3 moves. They couldn't resist at all. As for Wang Hui, Jia Bao, and Tuoba, although they were also very strong, their performances weren't as good as Yi Long and Ye Luo. Time passed quickly, and a few more rounds of battles passed. Only Yi Long, Ye Luo, Tuoba, and Mo Qingyun were still undefeated. They advanced to the top 4. That Mo Qingyun is really strong. He actually maintained a 45-win streak. I think the strength he displayed is only average. He hasn't tasted defeat yet. Based on this trend, I'm afraid only Yi Long and Ye Luo can suppress him. Look, Mo Qingyun and Tuoba have met. This is going to be a bitter battle. While everyone was discussing, Mo Qingyun walked to the second arena and confronted Tuoba. Looking at Mo Qingyun, Tuoba revealed a simple and honest smile and said, "I really have a whole new level of respect for you to be able to make it this far. However, your victory will end here. Enough chit-chat. Let's fight." Mo Qingyun didn't care about Tuoba's words at all and responded indifferently. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tuoba didn't waste any more words and charged at Mo Qingyun first. When Tuoba attacked, a terrifying blood aura erupted from his body. What a powerful physique. His physical strength is comparable to a quasi-eternity weapon. Sensing Tuoba's aura, Mo Qingyun was startled and immediately raised his guard. He didn't expect that Tuoba had actually concealed his strength in the previous battle. Sacred Dragon Tyrannical Lion Fist. Space shattered. While Mo Qingyun was startled, Tuoba arrived in front of him and threw a punch at him. Tuoba threw a punch. He was like a mad lion that pounced at Mo Qingyun. A dazzling golden light shot out from Tuoba's fist, instantly engulfing Mo Qingyun. Seeing this scene, everyone's expression was shocked, and their pair of eyes opened wide. Tuoba's punch is so powerful. I'm afraid that even an elite at the peak of the universe realm would not be able to withstand it. With the strength that Tuoba has displayed, it's enough for him to enter the top 500 of the Heavenly Devil Palace. He has hidden his strength well. From the looks of it, the fight between him and Mo Qingyun is over with this punch. Everyone whispered to each other. In their opinion, it was impossible for Mo Qingyun to take such a punch from Tuoba. Suddenly, a golden light flashed and pierced through the golden lion shadow. Pucci. Following that, everyone saw the golden lion image being split into 2 by a sword beam. The sword radiance split the golden lion shadow apart, but its attack did not slow down and continued to attack Tuoba. What a powerful sword ray. Looking at the sword radiance that was rapidly approaching him, Tuoba's expression changed, and he quickly retreated. When Tuoba retreated, he did not hesitate and threw a punch at the sword radiance. Holy Dragon breaks the heavenly wind. Violent golden saint power circled around like a dragon and turned into a huge golden shield. The golden dragon shield was formed, and it met the sword radiance head-on, blocking it. Boom! The sword radiance hit the golden dragon shield and exploded with a loud bang, creating a shocking storm of saint power. When the storm of saint power was created, cracks began to appear on the holy dragon shield. Seeing this, Tuoba's expression changed, and he was extremely shocked. Retreat. Seeing this, Tuoba did not dare to hesitate and immediately retreated. When Tuoba retreated, the holy dragon shield shattered and turned into a ball of saint power. What made Tobald feel relieved was that when the sacred dragon's shield shattered, the sword beam also dissipated. Spatial compression. However, before Tooba could relax, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of him. Mo Qingyun did not waste time talking to Tooba when he arrived in front of him. He swung his sword at him again. The nine-bull divine sword flashed, and a crescent-shaped sword radiance blasted out, approaching Tooba rapidly. So fast, I can't dodge it. I can only take it head-on. Facing the incoming sword radiance, Tooba's expression changed, and he threw a punch at the sword radiance. When Tooba threw his punch, an even more powerful saint power exploded from his fist. The spatial shattering and piercing precepts radiated from Tooba's body. Other than that, when the fist shadow met the sword radiance, there was also a fist force that blasted toward Mo Qingyun. Break. Facing the attack of that force, Mo Qingyun did not retreat at all, and he casually slashed out with his sword. Then, a sword radiance slashed forward, directly tearing the space apart. Shortly after, Tooba's punch was easily shattered. When Mo Qingyun defeated the fist force, the sword radiance also defeated the fist shadow. After the sword radiance defeated the fist shadow, its attack did not slow down, and it quickly hit Tooba's body. After being hit by the sword radiance, Tooba was immediately sent flying, and a hideous wound appeared on his body. This was because his body was strong. If it were someone else, their body would have been destroyed. Do you want to continue? After sending Tooba flying with one strike, Mo Qingyun held his sword with one hand and asked indifferently. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Tooba's expression changed. He gritted his teeth and said, "No need. I admit defeat." After Tooba finished speaking, he endured the pain and walked to the side to heal his wounds. From the previous exchange, he had already seen the difference between him and Mo Qingyun. If that was the case, there was no point in continuing the fight. The only result would be that his injuries would worsen, and it would not be beneficial for the rest of the fight. He's so strong. Even Tooba lost. Looks like we can only rely on Yi Long and Yi Luo. Look, Yi Luo and Yi Long are fighting. They're too strong. Yeah, I'm afraid I can't even block the aftershocks. They're definitely peak universe realm fighters. For 4 spatial laws, Yi Long has comprehended 4 spatial laws. Watching Yi Long and Yi Luo fight, the surrounding people were amazed. Mo Qingyun frowned when he sensed the fight between Yi Long and Yi Mo. He couldn't help but look at them. These two guys are a little troublesome to deal with. Seeing the strength displayed by Yi Long and Yi Luo, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed. It seems that I'll have to use some of my trump card if I want to defeat them, he thought. With that thought in mind, Mo Qingyun walked to the side and silently watched the fight between Yi Long and the Night Dragon. About 2 hours later, the fight between Yi Long and Yi Luo had a final result. In the end, Yi Long was slightly better and defeated Yi Luo. I'll definitely be the winner next time. When Yi Long attacked, Yi Luo said unwillingly. Then he walked to the side and adjusted his breathing to recover the energy he had expended during the fight. Yi Long didn't care about Yi Luo's words at all. He just smiled meaningfully. Chapter 2763. Yi Long and Yi Luo's battle had ended. Only Mo Qingyun and Yi Luo were still undefeated. After defeating Yi Luo, Yi Long turned to look at Mo Qingyun with a look of disdain. Most likely, in his opinion, defeating Mo Qingyun was as easy as lifting his hand. I never thought that the person fighting with me for first place would be you. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was not far away, Yi Long spoke with an arrogant expression. He had originally thought that the battle between Mo Qingyun and Tuobode would end with Tuobode's victory. Who would have thought that Mo Qingyun, who had been performing normally, would defeat Tuobode? You will be defeated by me, just like them. Mo Qingyun responded calmly to Yi Long's surprised words. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, not only was Yi Long surprised, but the people around were also shocked. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's words were a little too arrogant. After being slightly surprised, Yi Long smiled indifferently and said, "If you want to defeat me, you have to defeat Yi Luo first. If you can't even defeat him, you don't have the right to challenge me." "Shut up!" Yi Luo shouted unhappily when he heard Yi Long's words. He felt that Yi Long's words were belittling him. This would make others feel that he was inferior to Yi Long. Yi Long did not care about Yi Luo's scolding. He smiled faintly and said no more. Seeing that Yi Long had shut his mouth, Yi Luo looked at Mo Qingyun and said coldly, "Although I don't agree with what Yi Long said, you're still too inexperienced to defeat me. There's no point in saying more. We'll know when we fight." Seeing how Yi Luo and the others were acting, Mo Qingyun did not say much to them. Before the fight, all of them had been overbearing, but in the end, all of them had been defeated. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Yi Luo did not say much. He was prepared to use his fists to do the talking. Next, Mo Qingyun and the others adjusted their breathing to recover, wanting to be in their best condition to face their opponents. Several hours passed, and a new round of fighting began. Just as Mo Qingyun had thought, his opponent for this round was really Yi Luo. After glancing at Mo Qingyun, Yi Luo walked directly to the fifth arena. He stood in the middle and waited for Mo Qingyun. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun slowly stood up and walked towards the fifth battleground. When Mo Qingyun walked to the fifth stage, Night Dragon and Tooba walked to the second stage. This round, it was their turn to fight. Entering the second arena, Night Dragon was the first to launch an attack. His figure moved and charged towards Tooba. Night Dragon held a long saber in his hand and slashed down at Tooba domineeringly, sending out a black flood dragon saber light. When the black flood dragon saber light flew out, it immediately covered the sky and covered the sun, causing the sky to darken. Facing the incoming saber gleam, Tooba did not dare to be careless. He immediately threw a punch at the saber gleam. Holy Dragon breaks the sky. A violent golden saint power shot out from Tooba's fist and turned into a golden saint power dragon. The saint power dragon circled around his body and turned into a shield, blocking the black flood dragon saber light's attack. Boom! Facing the black flood dragon saber light's attack, the shield was instantly destroyed. It could not resist at all. After the shield was destroyed, the black flood dragon saber light's attack did not stop and directly engulfed Tooba. Soon, the crowd saw a figure flying out of the arena. It was Tooba. After being hit by Night Dragon's saber, Tooba's face was pale and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. There were many wounds on his body. There were dozens of wounds of various sizes. It looked very scary. "I've lost." Tooba stood up and gritted his teeth, unwilling to admit defeat. The two consecutive defeats had dealt a huge blow to his confidence. Night Dragon raised his head in satisfaction when he saw Tooba admit defeat. He looked very domineering. Obviously, he was trying to prove to everyone that he was stronger than Mo Qingyun. The time he used to defeat Tooba was shorter than Mo Qingyun's and more straightforward than Mo Qingyun's. This guy's strength is close to the peak of the universe realm. Seeing Night Dragon's strength, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. However, he did not care. He thought to himself, "However, without comprehending the law of time, I have a chance to defeat him. How dare you be distracted while fighting with me? You're courting death." Seeing that Mo Qingyun's attention was focused on Night Dragon, Yi Luo's face darkened. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's action was a form of contempt for him. Then, without hesitation, he pulled out his sword and stabbed at Mo Qingyun. Demon Snake's sky-piercing sword. Space compression. Space shattering. Space imprisonment. Perhaps it was because of the anger in his heart. Yi Luo used his full strength right from the start. He seemed to be showing off to Night Dragon that he could also defeat his opponent in one move. Yi Luo's idea was good, but unfortunately his opponent was Mo Qingyun, so he was destined to end in tragedy. 3 laws. Seeing the power of Yi Luo's sword, Mo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate and immediately swung the divine sword of 9 bulls. Mo Qingyun swung the divine sword of 9 bulls, which emitted a mysterious and overbearing power and slashed out a sword radiance with an imposing aura. Bang! When the two sword lights collided, there was a huge explosion, and a storm of sword chi was formed. When the sword chi storm was created, the two sword radiances dissipated and Yaluo's attack was blocked. Seeing this, Yaluo was shocked. His face was full of shock, and he said, "My all-out attack was easily broken by him. Since you want to end the battle quickly, I'll fulfill your wish." After blocking Yaluo's sword radiance, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate at all and immediately launched a counterattack. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he swung the divine sword of 9 bulls decisively towards Yaluo. Ignore defense, space compression, space expansion, space imprisonment. This time, Mo Qingyun did not hold back and directly used 3 types of nomological laws. As soon as the 3 laws were used, Mo Qingyun's aura immediately became sharp. At the same time, Yaluo's movements were restricted, which made him look shocked. Soon after, Yaluo did not dare to hesitate and immediately attacked the space in front of him. As Yaluo attacked the space in front of him, the sword radiance arrived before him, forcing him to block it. However, to his surprise, the sword radiance changed direction as it approached him. Space has shifted. No, this isn't. When he saw the sword radiance change direction, Yaluo's expression changed and he became confused. At this moment, he felt somewhat confused and could not help but become slightly distracted. At this moment, the sword radiance came even closer, forcing Yaluo to hastily block it. Spurt. Under Yaluo's block, the sword radiance pierced through and landed on his body. Then, like a kite with a broken string, he was sent flying. Chapter 2764. Yaluo lost. I didn't expect Yaluo to be no match for him. It seems like we can only rely on Yilong to suppress him. I wonder how the battle between Yilong and Yaluo will turn out. I'm looking forward to their battle. While everyone was amazed by Mo Qingyun's strength, they were also excited and expectant. Under everyone's anticipation, a quarter of an hour passed quickly. As the break ended, everyone began the last round of the competition. No one knew if it was a coincidence or if it was deliberately arranged by the exam elder. The battle between Mo Qingyun and Yilong was scheduled for the last round. When the battle between Mo Qingyun and Yaluo began, the surrounding spectators immediately became excited. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun and Yaluo walked into the arena. I'm really surprised that you could defeat Yaluo. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of him, Yilong revealed a look of surprise. He was still very surprised by this result. He said, "However, it's time to end this. You should be proud of yourself for achieving such a result. You'll be even more surprised when I defeat you later." Hearing Yilong's words, Mo Qingyun casually replied and said, "Actually, to me, the difference between you and Yaluo and the others is not particularly obvious." Arrogant. Mo Qingyun's attitude made Yilong very unhappy. Yilong roared angrily. He rarely spoke to Mo Qingyun and took the initiative to attack Mo Qingyun. Yilong raised his hand, and a long black saber fell into his hand. Silent Night, Flood Dragon Break. When the long black saber was in his hand, Yilong swung the saber and released a black light. The black light flew out from the saber and turned into a huge flood dragon that pounced on Mo Qingyun. As the black flood dragon flew, the law of space compression and the law of space shattering were added to it. With the addition of the 2 laws, the black flood dragon saber light was extremely fast and arrived in front of Mo Qingyun in the blink of an eye. Break. Facing the onslaught of the black dragon blade, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate in the slightest and immediately brandished his sword to block. Mo Qingyun waved the 9-oxen godly sword and immediately released a dazzling golden light, blasting out a golden dragon sword light. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword to counterattack, 2 mysterious nomological powers erupted from his body. Chi Chi Chi. When the power of laws collided, a shocking shockwave was produced, causing people to instinctively panic. At the same time, the saber light and the sword light collided, creating a violent storm. As soon as the storm formed, Emo, Qingyun, and Yi Zichen hurriedly retreated to avoid being swallowed and attacked by the storm. So strong, so strong. That's right. I didn't expect their battle to be so powerful. With my strength, I'm afraid that the aftermath of their battle will blast me to smithereens. From the looks of it now, Mo Qingyun and Luo Yunyan's abilities are sufficient to enter the top 80 in the Earth Demon Tower. Seeing the commotion caused by Mo Qingyun and Yi Zichen's battle, the surrounding people were all shocked. After a while, the Saint Power's storm weakened slightly, and Mo Qingyun and Yi Zichen began to fight again. Humph, that was just a warm-up. This is the real battle. Seeing that his all-out attack was scattered by Mo Qingyun, Yi Zichen launched another attack and said, "If your strength is only at that level, our battle should be over." Heavenly Dark Dragon slash. A terrifying dark sky curtain erupted from Yi Zichen's body and spread out in all directions. At this moment, under Yi Zichen's attack, the entire world seemed to be annihilated. Insignificant skill. Seeing Yi Zichen's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all and casually swung the 9-oxen godly sword. Immediately after, a sharp sword radiance blasted out and directly cut the space apart. As the space was destroyed, the dark sky curtains slowly dissipated and soon disappeared. You actually broke my superpower. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Yi Zichen was shocked and his expression darkened. Before Yi Zichen could attack again, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of him, saying, "You're always the one attacking. It's my turn now." Space imprisonment. The moment Mo Qingyun attacked, he did not give the slightest bit of face, releasing a kind of spatial law. Under the power of the space imprisonment law, Yi Zichen's movement was immediately suppressed. After restraining Yi Zichen's movement, Mo Qingyun slashed at him with his sword and blasted out a sharp sword light. Defense ignore. Space compression. Under the influence of these two powers, the speed of the sword light's attack was instantly increased to an extreme. The sword light flashed and arrived in front of Yi Zichen, leaving him in a situation where he could not dodge. This kid's sword light is strange and extremely difficult to block. I can't face it head-on. Seeing the sword light coming at him, Yi Zichen's face darkened and he immediately thought of a countermeasure. After observing Mo Qingyun's battle, he had a general understanding of Mo Qingyun's means. Immediately, Yi Zichen no longer hesitated and immediately slashed behind him. Space shatter. Silent night, flood dragon break. With a slash, a black dragon-shaped sword light broke through the space behind him. Immediately, Yi Zichen no longer hesitated and immediately dodged the sword light. "I knew you would do this." Seeing Yi Zichen's action, Mo Qingyun smirked and blasted a palm at him. Under Mo Qingyun's palm, a black light gate blasted out from his palm. Then, a strong aura of death spread out from the light gate. Boom! The light gate fell and blocked Yi Zichen's path with a loud bang. Caught off guard, Yi Zichen rushed into the light gate and was eroded by the aura of death. Night Dragon was scared out of his wits, and he hurriedly bombarded the door of death. Soon, the death gate was destroyed, and Yi Zichen escaped with a panicked expression. However, as soon as he escaped from the death gate, the sword light approached him. "Oh no, I can't dodge it." Seeing the sword light approaching, Yi Zichen's expression trembled and he panicked. While he was panicking, the sword light landed on his body and sent him flying in a domineering manner. Yi Zichen's body flew backward and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. Seeing Yi Zichen's performance, the surrounding people were stunned and they found it hard to believe. Yi Zichen was injured. Under Mo Qingyun's powerful attack, Yi Zichen was injured. This was just too unbelievable. Is this all you've got? It seems that this is all there is to it. After sending Yi Long flying, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly as he spoke in disdain. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yi Zichen's face turned gloomy and he was furious. Immediately, the aura he exuded increased a lot. He shouted, "Boy, you forced me to this point. You can be proud of your defeat." Chapter 2765. Half-Step Eternity Realm. Yilong's cultivation is actually at the half-step Eternity Realm. I can't believe that Yilong hid his strength so well. Mo Qingyun is in a bad situation. If he doesn't have a trump card, the battle will be over. Everyone was shocked when they saw Yilong's cultivation. They couldn't help but worry for Mo Qingyun. In their opinion, it would be too easy for Yilong to defeat Mo Qingyun with his strength. Sensing the gazes of the people around him, Night Dragon revealed an arrogant expression and said, "I didn't plan to do this. After all, with my true cultivation, fighting with you would be bullying you. But you forced me to do this. Don't flatter yourself. If you don't give it your all, are you a match for me?" Mo Qingyun didn't take Yilong's arrogant words seriously and retorted, "Besides, I have to tell you that you are really a piece of trash." Yilong was furious when he heard Mo Qingyun's insults. His eyes were gloomy, and he gritted his teeth. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Yilong's anger at all. He continued, "With your quasi-eternity realm cultivation, you don't have the courage to enter the top 10 of the Sky Devil Palace and obtain the opportunity to enter the space-time demonic tower. Instead, you eliminated yourself as an inner disciple and obtained the opportunity to enter the space-time demonic tower. You really lack ambition. Shut up. It's not up to you to lecture me on how I want to do things." Yilong's face turned even uglier when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He roared at Mo Qingyun angrily. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's words had undoubtedly poked at his sore spot. Mo Qingyun ignored Yilong's angry rebuke and continued, "Have you ever thought about what you would do if I defeated you? I won't lose." Yilong was obviously guilty when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. Although he didn't want to admit it, he had to admit that Mo Qingyun's question was what he was most worried about. "Fine, since you were so stubborn, then let's fight." Seeing Night Dragon's reaction, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything more and prepared to speak with reality. As Mo Qingyun spoke, an indistinct door of light flew out from the top of his head. Soon after, the door of light flashed and entered Mo Qingyun's body. Spatial imprisonment. As the spatial door entered his body, Mo Qingyun immediately gained a clear understanding of its laws. A wisp of a sneer appeared on the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth when he noticed this, and he said, "Needless to say, your luck is really bad. If it were any other law, Mo Qingyun would have to put in some effort to defeat Night Dragon. But if it was spatial shackles, then there was no suspense at all. Dual spatial imprisonment laws. Before Night Dragon could speak, Mo Qingyun attacked him and slapped him. Under Mo Qingyun's palm, a mysterious power of law blasted out from Mo Qingyun's palm. Immediately, the space around Night Dragon was forcibly imprisoned. "Humph! You can't trap me with this. Break!" Even though the space around him was imprisoned, Night Dragon didn't panic at all and casually blasted out a palm. A shocking saint power turned into a palm shadow and blasted out of the space in front of him. However, to Night Dragon's surprise, the sealed space around him didn't change at all under his palm power. No reaction? How can this be? Seeing this scene, Night Dragon's expression trembled. Then, his face turned pale and he began to panic. The current situation was somewhat out of his control. He knew very well that if he was trapped by the seal, he would have to face Mo Qingyun's sword light attack. But Mo Qingyun's sword light was strange, and there was no way to disperse it. He could only use his body to resist it. In this way, even if he was in the eternal realm, he wouldn't be able to break it. It's impossible that I can't break it. There must be some secret. Night Dragon didn't want to give up after his attack failed and blasted out another palm. After taking another palm strike from Night Dragon, a weak crack appeared in the space in front of him. Seeing this scene, Night Dragon's face lit up and he became excited. In his opinion, since the space could be cracked, it meant that he could break it. Seeing Night Dragon's reaction, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly and said, "Even if you can break the space, will I give you time?" As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he slashed out with his sword and blasted out a powerful sword light. The sword light was extremely fast and arrived in front of Night Dragon in the blink of an eye, slashing at him with irresistible force. Seeing the sword light coming at him, Night Dragon panicked and his hands moved faster. Under Night Dragon's frantic attacks, the space in front of him cracked more and more. Unfortunately, the sword light was even faster and engulfed Night Dragon before he could break free. Bang! Immediately, everyone saw Night Dragon's body being sent flying again. Seeing this, everyone was stunned and couldn't recover for a long time. Night Dragon was sent flying again. Mo Qingyun's casual slash actually had such power. Mo Qingyun's strength is really too strong. It's not at the standard of a quasi-universe boundary at all. Could it be that Mo Qingyun's true cultivation has reached the eternal realm? It doesn't seem like it. In my opinion, it should be a kind of origin mystique, a very powerful one. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone started to speculate. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and chased after Night Dragon. Dual spatial laws. When he arrived in front of Night Dragon, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time and attacked him without hesitation. Under the dual spatial laws, Night Dragon's movements were forcefully restrained again. After restraining Night Dragon's movements, Mo Qingyun slashed at him with his sword. "No!" Night Dragon bellowed indignantly when he saw his current situation. It wasn't clear if he was indignant about his situation or if he was indignant that his plan had failed. Night Dragon's indignant roar didn't make Mo Qingyun stop. Soon, everyone saw the sword light send Night Dragon flying in a domineering manner. After being bombarded by the sword light, Night Dragon's injuries had obviously worsened and his aura had become weak. Judging by his appearance, he had less than 70% of his combat strength left. Do you still want to continue? After sending Night Dragon flying again, Mo Qingyun didn't remember the attack and asked him indifferently. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Night Dragon's expression darkened and he shouted, "It's not that easy to make me admit defeat." Seeing Night Dragon's reaction, Mo Qingyun shook his head helplessly and didn't say anything else. Immediately, Mo Qingyun used the dual spatial laws to attack Night Dragon. Then, everyone saw Night Dragon being beaten up by Mo Qingyun like a rubber ball. Seeing this, everyone couldn't bear to see it and couldn't help but sympathize with Night Dragon. Chapter 2766. You've lost. Looking at Night Dragon's sorry state, Mo Qingyun said with a calm expression, "It seems that you really don't have the qualifications to enter the space-time demonic pagoda to cultivate. Even if you did not hesitate to give up your identity as an inner disciple, you still don't have the qualifications." After Mo Qingyun said that, he turned and left, leaving behind a gloomy Night Dragon. Mo Qingyun's words were undoubtedly the most ruthless blow to him. What angered Night Dragon the most was that he had no way to refute Mo Qingyun's words. After all, he was defeated by Mo Qingyun in the competition. "Just you wait. I will definitely defeat you next time." Looking at Mo Qingyun's back, Night Dragon's expression was ferocious, and he secretly made a vow. Mo Qingyun did not pay attention to Night Dragon's performance and calmly walked to the side and sat down. After the battle between Mo Qingyun and Night Dragon ended, the inner disciple assessment came to an end. To everyone's surprise, it was Mo Qingyun who made it to the end. After a while, the elder in charge of the assessment stood up, glanced at Mo Qingyun and the others, and said, "Since the inner disciple assessment is over, I will now give out the rewards for the top 10. Under the guidance of the elder, Mo Qingyun and the others walked over to receive the rewards for the top 10. Not long after, the elder handed over the prizes to Mo Qingyun and the others. After the prizes were given out, the elder and the others left. After the elder and the others left, Mo, Qingyun, and the others did not stay any longer and returned to their own residences. Next, it's time to arrange the time to enter the space-time demonic pagoda. Looking at the token in his hand, Mo, Qingyun smiled with satisfaction and flew out of the drill ground. On the way back, Mo, Qingyun was thinking, I will enter the space-time demonic pagoda to cultivate and solve the Tang family's matter. I have to return to the Divine Wood continent. In his opinion, the time spent searching for the origin of Star Nest was long enough. He had to go back and take a look at the situation in the Divine Wood continent. A short while later, Mo, Qingyun returned to his residence. In a flicker, he entered the Fortune mainland. After entering the Fortune mainland, Mo, Qingyun did not waste any time, directly heading to the Grand Misty. The most crucial thing for him right now was to refine the Grand Mist spirit and raise his cultivation. Once his cultivation broke through to the universe realm, he would be able to cultivate the third stage of the nine-directional godly bull sword technique. Now that he had successfully cultivated the third level of the nine directions divine oxword technique, he would have the ability to protect himself even if he faced an eternal realm expert. Time slowly passed. As he continued to refine the Hong Meng spirit, Mo, Qingyun's cultivation base steadily increased. About half a month later, under Mo, Qingyun's diligent cultivation, his cultivation had advanced by another step. Half-step universe realm. Sensing the improvement in his cultivation, Mo, Qingyun's face lit up, revealing a faint smile as he said, the current me only needs a suitable opportunity to break through to the universe realm. Now that he was clear about his situation, Mo, Qingyun was not in a hurry to break through to the universe realm. Since I can't rush to break through to the universe realm, then there's no need to cultivate anymore. Mo, Qingyun stood up and swam towards the Grand Mist Sea, preparing to leave the Fortune mainland to take a look. Half a month had passed since the inner disciple's assessment ended. It was time for him to take a look at the space-time Devil Pagoda. Coming out from the Fortune mainland, Mo, Qingyun left his room and rushed towards the space-time Devil Pagoda. The space-time Devil Pagoda was not too far away from Mo, Qingyun's residence. It did not take long for Mo, Qingyun to arrive outside the space-time Devil Pagoda. Standing in front of the space-time Devil Pagoda, Mo, Qingyun felt an ancient aura from the pagoda. Under the envelopment of this aura, Mo, Qingyun felt extremely small, like a grain of sand. The space-time Devil Pagoda is really extraordinary. Under this strange feeling, Mo, Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. He was curious about the space-time Devil Pagoda. After sizing up the space-time Devil Pagoda, Mo, Qingyun retracted his gaze and looked around. Under Mo, Qingyun's observation, he noticed that there were people going in and out of the space-time Devil Pagoda. When these people saw Mo, Qingyun, they were shocked and couldn't help pointing fingers at Mo, Qingyun. Looking at their expressions, it was as if they didn't understand why Mo, Qingyun would be here. In their opinion, with Mo, Qingyun's cultivation, he didn't have the qualifications to be here. More accurately, with Mo, Qingyun's cultivation, it would be difficult for him to become an inner disciple. While these people were puzzled, those who knew about Mo, Qingyun started to clear their doubts. After learning about Mo, Qingyun's situation, the shock in their eyes when they looked at Mo, Qingyun became even stronger. Obviously, they didn't expect that with Mo, Qingyun's cultivation, he would get first place in the inner disciple assessment. Mo, Qingyun didn't care about the reaction of the people around him and slowly walked towards the space-time Devil Pagoda. At this moment, when Mo, Qingyun approached the space-time Devil Pagoda, two young men with domineering auras walked out. Seeing these two people, the people around the space-time Devil Pagoda were in awe. Dingyu's come out. His aura seems to be much stronger than before. It seems that Dingyu must have gained a lot in the space-time Devil Pagoda this time. Dingyu and Quan Wenzhong have been competing in secret. This time, Dingyu's strength has increased greatly. Quan Wenzhong must be very unhappy. Quan Wenzhong has a bad temper. It's better not to provoke him now. Seeing the two people walking out of the space-time Devil Pagoda, the people around them whispered. Under everyone's gaze, a young man in black said to the eagle-robed, middle-aged man in front of him, Quan Wenzhong, I will challenge you in 3 days. From now on, the 10th place in the inner sect will be mine. Oof. Quan Wenzhong snorted when he heard the young man in black, but he didn't reply. As Quan Wenzhong snorted coldly, a half-step universe realm martialist approached him slowly. It seemed that the other party didn't take him seriously. In fact, he didn't even look at him. The feeling of being looked down on made him extremely angry. Stop right there. Quan Wenzhong took a step forward and blocked the other party's path. His tone was cold as he shouted. When he heard Quan Wenzhong's words, the young man stopped and said calmly, What's the matter? When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Quan Wenzhong's face darkened and he said in a commanding tone, This is not a place where you can come to. Go back to where you belong immediately. Quan Wenzhong didn't know some things about Mo Qingyun and didn't know that he had the space-time Devil Pagoda token. He just subjectively felt that Mo Qingyun wasn't qualified to enter the space-time Devil Pagoda with his cultivation. Another fellow who wants to use his status to oppress others. When he saw Quan Wenzhong's actions, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold, and he looked at the other party with dissatisfaction. He would never give in to such a person. If the other party didn't know what was good for him, he wouldn't mind teaching him a lesson. Chapter 2767. Interesting. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, the corner of Ding Yu's mouth curled up slightly, showing an interested expression. He was surprised that Mo Qingyun dared to provoke Quan Wenzhong with his cultivation. He had to admit that Mo Qingyun was a little bold. You're courting death. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Quan Wenzhong's face darkened, and he raised his hand to grab Mo Qingyun's back. Under Quan Wenzhong's hand, a violent and manic saint power blasted out from his palm. The saint power blasted out like a storm, engulfing Mo Qingyun. Facing Quan Wenzhong's attack, Mo Qingyun's expression darkened, and he immediately dodged. Mo Qingyun took a step, and his body was dozens of meters away, easily breaking free from the palm storm. He dodged. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Ding Yu was stunned. Obviously, the situation in front of him was somewhat beyond his expectations. In his opinion, with Mo Qingyun's strength, he shouldn't be able to dodge. Under Ding Yu's surprised gaze, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold, and he said, You're not qualified to hold your own in front of me. If you attack again, don't blame me for being rude. The moment Mo Qingyun's words left his mouth, everyone around him was stunned. This kid is so arrogant. How dare he talk to Quan Wenzhong like that? His character has always been like this. During the inner disciple assessment, he used this attitude to treat Yilong. Although Quan Wenzhong is strong, it's not easy to take advantage of Mo Qingyun. I really want to see how Mo Qingyun will deal with Quan Wenzhong's anger. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, some people who knew him were looking forward to it. Obviously, they wanted to see who would win the battle between Mo Qingyun and Quan Wenzhong. One arrogant brat. I like to see how capable you are. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Quan Wenzhong roared and attacked Mo Qingyun. At this moment, Quan Wenzhong's attack was clearly much fiercer than before. Seeing Quan Wenzhong's move, Ding Yu narrowed his eyes and immediately moved in front of Mo Qingyun. He was very willing to do anything that could make Quan Wenzhong suffer. Ding Yu's figure flashed a few times, and he arrived in front of Mo Qingyun, helping Mo Qingyun block Quan Wenzhong's attack. Bang! Ding Yu and Quan Wenzhong's fists and palms collided, resulting in a massive explosion and a terrifying shockwave. Under the impact of this powerful energy wave, the surrounding people retreated one after another, their faces filled with intense shock. Although the two of them were casually exchanging blows, this kind of movement was still very terrifying. He's actually unscathed under the palm storm. Seeing that the impact of the storm had no effect on Mo Qingyun, the shock on Ding Yu's face became even more intense. Immediately, his evaluation of Mo Qingyun immediately increased by several notches. Ding Yu, what are you trying to do? Seeing Ding Yu's action, Quan Wenzhong's face darkened and a strong anger arose. Ding Yu didn't care about Quan Wenzhong's anger at all. With a calm expression, he said, "He's just a quasi-universe realm junior brother. Using your status to deal with him isn't a bit too much?" Hearing Ding Yu's preaching, Quan Wenzhong's anger immediately became even more intense. "Humph. It's not up to you to lecture me on what I want to do." Quan Wenzhong snorted and ignored Ding Yu. He once again grabbed at Mo Qingyun and said, "I want to teach him a lesson. You can't stop me." Seeing Quan Wenzhong's attack, Ding Yu didn't back down and smiled faintly. "If that's the case, then let's give it a try." At this moment, when Ding Yu and Quan Wenzhong attacked, an old man quickly approached. "Stop!" Arriving in front of the two, the old man raised his hand and blasted out a mysterious force. Under this force, Quan Wenzhong and Quan Wenzhong's bodies were immediately pushed back. "Don't you two know that fighting is prohibited in the space-time demonic pagoda?" The old man's expression was solemn as he questioned the two of them after stopping them from doing anything. Hearing the old man's question, Ding Yu and Quan Wenzhong's expressions trembled, and they hurriedly bowed their heads and apologized. Disciple knows his mistake. "Elder, please don't be angry. Disciple won't dare to do it again." Seeing the two apologize, the old man's expression improved a little. He waved his hand and said, "If there's nothing else, you can leave." Under the old man's wave, Ding Yu and Quan Wenzhong didn't stay any longer and immediately walked out of the space-time demonic pagoda. "Senior Martial Brother, thank you for your help." Seeing that Ding Yu was about to leave, Mo Qingyun cupped his hands and thanked him. He then looked at Quan Wenzhong and said, "As for Senior Brother, you were really impressive just now. When I come out of seclusion, I'll definitely pay you a visit. I hope you won't be stingy when the time comes." "Oomph." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Quan Wenzhong coldly snorted and said, "I'll wait for you. I hope no one will interfere the next time we fight." After Quan Wenzhong finished speaking, he looked at Ding Yu. His meaning couldn't be more obvious. Ding Yu didn't care about Quan Wenzhong's warning at all. He looked at Mo Qingyun with interest and said, "Junior brother, you're so bold. The next time you fight, you must call me. I want to see how you teach him a lesson." "Definitely." Mo Qingyun nodded. After chatting with Mo Qingyun for a while, Ding Yu didn't stay any longer and directly turned to leave. After Ding Yu and Quan Wenzhong left, the elder looked at Mo Qingyun and said, "Little guy, this isn't a place for outer sect disciples. Return to the outer sect immediately." After the elder finished speaking, he ignored Mo Qingyun and walked into the space-time demonic pagoda. Obviously, he didn't know about Mo Qingyun's matter and also treated Mo Qingyun as an ordinary disciple. "Elder, please wait." Seeing that the elder had turned to leave, Mo Qingyun hurriedly called out to him and took out the space-time demonic pagoda's token. "This is the reward for the first place in the outer sect disciple assessment. With this, you can enter the space-time demonic pagoda to cultivate once." The space-time demonic pagoda's token. Seeing the token in Mo Qingyun's hand, the elder was shocked. Only then did he carefully look at Mo Qingyun. After looking at Mo Qingyun for a while, the elder revealed a look of interest and said, "Interesting. With your half-step universe realm cultivation, you actually obtained the first place in the intersect disciple assessment. This time, this old man has misjudged you." The elder muttered to himself. He did not say anything else and took the token from Mo Qingyun's hand. The space-time demonic pagoda has the law of time. If you can't comprehend it, it's best not to stay for too long. After taking the space-time demonic pagoda's token, the elder reminded Mo Qingyun and turned to leave. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun nodded and followed behind the elder. They arrived in front of a door. Standing in front of the door, Mo Qingyun felt a law of time enveloping his body. Chapter 2768. After entering the space-time demonic pagoda, a mysterious law of time enveloped Mo Qingyun's body. Under the influence of this law, Mo Qingyun felt that the flow of time seemed to speed up. The law of time acceleration. Sensing the law of time acceleration, Mo Qingyun frowned and focused his mind to sense it. What made Mo Qingyun helpless was that the law of time was too mysterious. It was even harder to comprehend than the law of space. At his current level, comprehending the law of time was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. After a fruitless attempt, Mo Qingyun did not continue. He went deeper into the space-time demonic pagoda and said, "Before comprehending the law of time, I'll find the grand elder of the Tang family first. It'll be a trivial matter. When the time comes, I'll be able to focus on cultivation." Mo Qingyun walked for a while. He realized that the situation in the space-time demonic pagoda was very different from what he had imagined. The space-time demonic pagoda was not a simple pagoda. It was more like an independent space. At a glance, there were mountains, forests, grasslands, and rivers. There was no end in sight. No wonder the grand elder of the Tang family was lost in the space-time demonic pagoda. Seeing the situation in the space-time demonic pagoda, Mo Qingyun roughly understood why the grand elder of the Tang family was missing. In his opinion, it was normal to get lost in such a space. Compared to getting lost, Mo Qingyun was more worried about the death of the grand elder of the Tang family. In such an environment, if someone had evil intentions, the consequences would be terrible. Let's look around first. Mo Qingyun sighed. His footsteps did not stop as he quickly searched the space-time demonic pagoda. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that as he went deeper into the space-time demonic pagoda, time flowed faster and faster. My bone age is increasing at an extremely fast rate. As time flowed faster and faster, Mo Qingyun noticed some changes in his body. However, Mo Qingyun did not care too much. With his current cultivation, his lifespan was very long. Next, Mo Qingyun patiently searched the space-time demonic pagoda. If there is someone to guide me, it will be much easier. After a fruitless search, Mo Qingyun could not help but feel some anticipation. There was a lot of space in the space-time demon pagoda. It would take a lot of time to search through it. Therefore, finding someone to guide him was the best choice. Several hours later, as Mo Qingyun searched, he encountered a disciple. Someone is cultivating over there. When Mo Qingyun discovered that disciple, his figure flashed, and he appeared beside that disciple. Sensing Mo Qingyun's approach, that person stopped cultivating and turned to look at Mo Qingyun. Half-step universe realm. Sensing Mo Qingyun's cultivation, the man's face was filled with shock. Clearly, Mo Qingyun's cultivation had surprised him greatly. In his opinion, those who could enter the space-time demonic pagoda were all disciples with extraordinary statuses. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation, no matter how he looked at it, he did not look like a disciple with an honorable status. You have some guts. You actually dared to sneak into the space-time demonic pagoda. After sizing up Mo Qingyun, the man's face darkened and he scolded Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not care about the man's scolding. He raised his hand and took out the space-time demonic pagoda token. He felt that there was no point in saying anything more. The space-time demonic pagoda token was the most trustworthy. The space-time demonic pagoda token. When he saw the token in Mo Qingyun's hand, the man's face was filled with shock. "I didn't expect you to have the space-time demonic pagoda token. I misjudged you this time." Then, he sized up Mo Qingyun with interest. The man's actions made Mo Qingyun feel a little disgusted. He said calmly, "Senior brother, I want to ask you about someone. Have you seen Tang Gong here?" Tang Gong? Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the man frowned and a thoughtful expression appeared on his face. Mo Qingyun didn't rush the other party. He just waited silently at the side. After a while, a look of realization dawned on this person's face. He seemed to have remembered something and said, "The person you're talking about, I have a little impression of him. If I remember correctly, he should be the guy who got lucky 10 years ago and obtained the inheritance of a sect ancestor." He obtained the legacy of an ancestor? Hearing the man's words, Mo Qingyun's face lit up. He was very surprised. However, when he thought about it again, he felt relieved. According to Tang Wan's explanation, Tang Gong's talent for cultivation was ordinary, so he should not have had the right to enter the space-time demonic pagoda. However, Tang Gong had obtained the legacy of an ancestor, which had greatly increased his cultivation and potential, allowing him to obtain the right to enter the space-time demonic pagoda. It seems like Tang Gong's quite lucky to have encountered such a fortuitous encounter. Mo Qingyun sighed with emotion at Tang Gong's fortuitous encounter. He said, "Senior brother, do you know where Tang Gong is now?" "I'm not very sure." The man shook his head. After thinking for a while, he raised his hand and pointed in the southwest direction. "I remember that when Tang Gong first entered the space-time demonic pagoda, he seemed to want to venture into the river of time. Go look for him there." Then, he gave Mo Qingyun directions and told Mo Qingyun how to get to the river of time. "Thank you, senior brother." After understanding the direction of the river of time, Mo Qingyun cupped his hands in thanks and turned to leave. Looking at Mo Qingyun's back, the corners of the man's mouth curled up into a sly smile. "A half-step universe realm brat dares to have designs on me, Tang Gong. Do you really think that I've lived my life for nothing? You're too inexperienced to fight me." Tang Gong muttered to himself. He stood up and stretched his arms. "I've been in seclusion for so long. It's time for me to go out for a walk." Tang Luo's figure flashed out of the space-time demonic pagoda as soon as he finished speaking. If Mo Qingyun knew that the person he was looking for had been right in front of him just now, he wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. More importantly, not only did that guy refuse to admit his identity, he even gave him random directions. After learning the location of the River of Time from Tang Gong, Mo Qingyun hurried over. Several hours later, Mo Qingyun arrived at the area of the River of Time at full speed. Within 1,000 miles of the River of Time, Mo Qingyun could clearly see that the air was filled with a thin mist. The laws of time were even stronger in this mist, making it easy for people to sink into it. One type, two types, three types. Mo Qingyun thought silently as he was enveloped by the laws of time. There were several laws contained in the mist. Mo Qingyun didn't stop as he analyzed. He quickly walked toward the River of Time. As he entered the mist, Mo Qingyun vaguely discovered that some disciples were cultivating and hiding. Chapter 2769. After looking around briefly, Mo Qingyun approached someone and asked about Tang Gong. Mo Qingyun's approach immediately caught the person's attention. He stared at Mo Qingyun in astonishment. It was obvious that the person was thinking the same thing as Tang Gong. "Greetings, senior brother." Mo Qingyun brought his fists together and asked, "I would like to ask senior brother about someone. May I know if senior brother has seen Tang Gong?" "Tang Gong?" The person squinted when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He asked, "Who are you to Tang Gong?" Mo Qingyun was rather surprised by the person's answer. "I'm not related to him. I'm just passing by his clan to pass on a message." Mo Qingyun fell silent for a moment before explaining the actual situation to the person. He added, "If senior brother has seen Tang Gong, please tell me where he is. I'm not sure where he is right now." The person shook his head as if there was nothing he could do. Mo Qingyun felt rather helpless. Mo Qingyun was not willing to explain further when he saw that the person did not know where Tang Gong was. He brought his fists together and turned to leave. The person hesitated when he saw Mo Qingyun was about to leave. He said, "Kid, if you're not related to Tang Gong, I advise you not to look for him." "Why?" Mo Qingyun was confused by the person's words. However, the person did not answer Mo Qingyun's question. He said in a profound manner, "I've already reminded you. It's up to you to make your choice." After that person finished speaking, he closed his eyes and once again immersed himself in cultivation. Mo Qingyun felt rather helpless after seeing the person's reaction. He did not say anything further. Mo Qingyun went deeper into the River of Time to continue searching for Tang Gong. At this moment, as Mo Qingyun was moving forward, a few cold gazes were directed at him. "That kid seems to be related to Tang Gong. Send a message to senior brother Zhou Mu immediately." As long as we take down this brat, we don't have to worry about Tang Gong not showing up. You go and inform senior brother Zhou. We will go and capture that brat. They divided up the work, and 3 of them walked towards Mo Qingyun. Not long after, Mo Qingyun's path was blocked. He frowned as he looked at the 3 people. He could feel that the 3 of them definitely did not have good intentions for stopping him. However, Mo Qingyun didn't panic. He glanced at them with an indifferent expression. These people's cultivations weren't weak. They were all at the peak of the universe realm and weren't far from the eternity realm. However, with these people's cultivation, they were not much of a threat to Mo Qingyun. Yilong, who was in the inner disciple assessment, was on par with them. Gentlemen, may I know why you stopped me? Although he knew that the other party was up to no good, Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry to make a move. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, one of them stepped out and said coldly, "Brat, who are you to Tang Gong? Why are you looking for him?" "I have nothing to do with Tang Gong. I am just passing a message on behalf of his clansmen." Mo Qingyun answered the other party's question calmly. He did not show any signs of panic. When they heard Mo Qingyun's answer, the 3 of them had doubtful expressions on their faces. "You have no relationship with Tang Gong? I advise you not to lie. Otherwise, it won't be a good thing for you. No matter what your relationship with Tang Gong is, it will naturally be clear in a while." The other person immediately added. Seeing the reaction of these people, Mo Qingyun's eyes turned and an idea came to his mind. Judging from these people's appearance, they should have a grudge with Tang Gong. I could start with them. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun decided not to wander around. Instead, he sat down cross-legged on the spot. Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, the 3 people next to him were stunned and looked at each other. They never thought that Mo Qingyun would be so calm in the face of their threats. However, although they were very surprised, they did not stop Mo Qingyun. They felt that as long as Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry to leave, everything would be enough. Time passed bit by bit. As Mo Qingyun comprehended, he entered a wondrous state. He gave off an ancient presence. At that moment, the feeling that Mo Qingyun gave off was that he was no longer a young man. If one did not look at his appearance, they would definitely think that he was an old man in his twilight years. The concept of time. This kid has only cultivated for a short while, and he has already comprehended this concept. Comprehending the concept of time has a huge effect on comprehending the laws of time. This kid's comprehension ability is terrifying. No matter what his comprehension ability is like, since he is related to Tang Gong, he won't have a good ending. The people whispered to each other while they gloated on the side. Not long after, a young man with an insolent aura arrived under the lead of a person. "Young Master Zhou, this is the kid." Seeing Zhou come in front of them, they immediately bowed. Zhou chose to ignore their words. He raised his hand and grabbed at Mo Qingyun. What surprised Zhou was that when he grabbed at Mo Qingyun, he saw a strange scene. He saw that no matter how he attacked, he could not catch Mo Qingyun. This kind of situation made him feel extremely terrified. "Humph, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Seeing that he could not catch Mo Qingyun, Zhou lost his patience and threw a punch at Mo Qingyun. Under Zhou's punch, a terrifying saint power blasted out from his fist. Immediately, the saint power turned into a leopard's fist and swallowed Mo Qingyun. Break! Sensing the incoming leopard's fist, Mo Qingyun threw out a palm to meet the fist radiance. Immediately, Zhou's fist radiance was dispersed by Mo Qingyun. However, although Mo Qingyun had dispersed the fist radiance, he had left the strange state. What a pity! After leaving the state, Mo Qingyun shook his head regretfully. If he had a little more time, he should be able to comprehend the law of time. Unfortunately, Zhou had disturbed him and ruined his plan. Mo Qingyun's face darkened when he thought of this. He looked coldly at Zhou and said, "No matter who you are, I must teach you a lesson today. I will let you know the rules. Do not disturb others when they are cultivating." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhou and the others were all dumbfounded. They looked at each other. Mo Qingyun just said that he would teach them a lesson. Did they hear it wrong? They came to Mo Qingyun to teach Mo Qingyun a lesson and forced Tangong to show up. Now, Mo Qingyun said that he would teach them a lesson. What a joke. Chapter 2770. Senior Brother Zhou Mu, you don't have to make a move. Let me, Chen Huai, take care of him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, a group of people revealed displeasure and took the initiative to take care of Mo Qingyun. Zhou Mu nodded indifferently and agreed to Chen Huai's request. After obtaining Zhou Mu's tacit consent, Chen Huai revealed a cold smile and walked towards Mo Qingyun. Kid, I've been in the Supreme Harmony Devil sect for so long, but it's the first time I've met such an arrogant fellow like you. For your future, I'll teach you how to behave. I'm just afraid that you don't have the ability and instead jumped out to humiliate yourself. With regards to Chen Huai's actions, Mo Qingyun had a disdainful expression as he retorted indifferently. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chen Huai's expression became even more unsightly as he said angrily, "Looks like you're quite confident in your own strength. I hope you don't disappoint me. I'll definitely bring you a pleasant surprise." Mo Qingyun's aura wasn't weak as he retorted without backing down. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't waste any more words with Chen Huai and took the initiative to launch an attack. Mo Qingyun taking the initiative to attack not only caused Chen Huai to reveal a surprised expression, but the others who were attracted over also had a surprised expression. This Bratskets are really big. With his half-step universe realm cultivation, he actually dared to take the initiative to attack Chen Huai. It's really unbelievable. He probably has something to rely on since he dares to do this. It makes me feel a little expectant. I hope he really has some ability and doesn't get beaten up later. Looking at the exchange between Mo Qingyun and Chen Huai, the surrounding people whispered in whispers. While the surrounding people were discussing, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and arrived in front of Chen Huai. Arriving in front of Chen Huai, Mo Qingyun swung the nine-bull divine sword and blasted out a swift and fierce sword light. The moment the sword light appeared, it carried a profound concept as if it had traveled through the river of time. What a profound sword move. Chen Huai's expression trembled when he saw Mo Qingyun's sword move, and his expression immediately tensed up. He could not see through Mo Qingyun's sword. Immediately, the contempt he had for Mo Qingyun was immediately retracted. From this sword move, he could tell that Mo Qingyun was not easy to deal with. If he dared to underestimate them, he would have to pay a huge price. When Chen Huai thought of this, he no longer hesitated and immediately made a move to block the attack. Extreme Spirit Bright Moon Burial. Chen Huai's hands swiftly formed seals, condensing a strange seal, then blasted it towards the sword light. As the handprint blasted out, it also carried a surge of the law of space, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. However, in the face of the imprint's bombardment, the sword light's attack did not weaken at all. At the moment, the sword light unleashed by Mo Qingyun seemed to tear through space. How could this be? Noticing the strangeness of the sword light, Chen Huai's expression trembled, and his complexion became pale. From this brief exchange of blows, he already discerned that he was not Mo Qingyun's match. If they continued fighting, he might suffer a great loss. Chen Huai understood this and was unwilling to stay behind any longer, preparing to turn around and flee immediately. Want to escape? It's not so easy. Stay behind. Seeing Chen Huai's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression went cold, and he raised his hand and blasted a palm towards Chen Huai. Then, a profound law of space enveloped Chen Huai's surroundings. Under the power of this law, the space around Chen Huai was immediately forcefully sealed. Spatial shackling law. Noticing that the surrounding space was sealed, Chen Huai's expression trembled, and his eyes stared wide open. Obviously, he did not think that Mo Qingyun would have such a move. Break for me. Understanding his situation, Chen Huai did not dare hesitate in the slightest and immediately blasted a palm forward. After that, a powerful spatial, shattering law blasted out from his palm. Under Chan Huai's palm, the space around him collapsed, and it was unable to trap him any longer. But even though the spatial, shackling law dissipated, the sword light approached. No, don't. Looking at the sword light that arrived in the blink of an eye, Chan Huai opened his eyes wide and emitted a terrified voice. Before he could finish speaking, the sword light struck him and directly blasted him flying. Bang! Under the bombardment of the sword light, Chan Huai directly flew out, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. After that, the aura that Chan Huai emitted weakened with extreme speed. Chan Huai lost. This kid's strength is actually so formidable. Is there still a need to ask? If he didn't have some strength, how could he enter the space-time Devil Pagoda? That's true. I almost forgot that this is the space-time Devil Pagoda. It's getting more and more interesting. I wonder how Zhou Mu will deal with it. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, apart from exclaiming in admiration, everyone was even more expectant and curious. They really wanted to see how Zhou Mu would deal with this action of Mo Qingyun's. Clap, clap, clap. Under everyone's curious gazes, Zhou Mu had a gloomy smile on his face as he clapped his hands unhurriedly. Seeing Zhou Mu's action, the expressions of some people who were familiar with him immediately tensed up, because they knew that when Zhou Mu was truly enraged, he would habitually clap his hands. Looking at the current situation, Zhou Mu was truly enraged. Kid, you're out of luck. Senior apprentice brother Zhou Mu is truly enraged. Seeing Zhou Mu's action, a person beside Zhou Mu looked at Mo Qingyun gloatingly. Towards this person's threat, Mo Qingyun did not care in the slightest and said with a faint smile, I don't really agree with what you said. I feel that he clapped to welcome me, beating him up. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people were dumbfounded. They really did not understand how Mo Qingyun understood it this way. You're right. I welcome you to beat me up. I'm just afraid that you don't have the ability to do so. As Zhou Mu spoke, his expression became uglier and uglier, emitting a cold aura. Mo Qingyun did not care about Zhou Mu's aura at all. He smiled faintly and said, although I'm not very capable, teaching you a lesson shouldn't be a problem. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he did not wait for Zhou Mu's response and chose to attack Zhou Mu. Mo Qingyun's action once again shocked everyone, causing their eyes to widen. In the confrontation between Mo Qingyun and Zhou Mu, it was actually Mo Qingyun who made the first move. This was too surprising. How dare you? You're courting death. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Zhou Mu's followers immediately roared angrily. Immediately after, the few of them did not hesitate and immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. Scram! In the face of the few people's attacks, Mo Qingyun did not retreat at all. Instead, he swept his sword towards them. Then, a crescent-shaped sword wave swept towards the few people. Facing the overbearing sword radiance, the few people could not dodge in time and were forcefully sent flying. Chapter 2771. He sent 3 people at the peak of the universe realm flying with 1 strike. This guy is too strong. Senior brother Ruogu, can you do it? It's difficult. I might not be able to do it, at least not as easily as he did. What? Even senior brother Ruogu can't do it? Is he really that strong? He is indeed very strong. The strength he displayed is comparable to the top 50 in the Heavenly Devil Palace. Hiss! Hearing Ruogu's words, the surrounding people gasped. Ruogu was ranked 66th in the Heavenly Devil Palace. They did not expect Mo Qingyun to be stronger than him. Hearing Ruogu's words, the way the crowd looked at Mo Qingyun immediately changed. They knew that Zhou Mu was in a bad situation and might fail miserably. As the saying goes, there must be something fishy going on when things are out of the ordinary. Mo Qingyun entered the space-time demonic pagoda with a half-step universe realm cultivation. Indeed, he cannot be judged by common sense. Since he wanted to beat you up, why did you ask others to stop me? Mo Qingyun smirked as he sent a few people who were blocking his way flying. He quickly approached Zhou Mu. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he did not hold back and slashed out with his sword without hesitation. Then, a sharp sword radiance shot toward Zhou Mu. Facing the incoming sword ray, Zhou Mu did not panic and took out a battle saber to meet it. As soon as the battle saber was in his hand, it emitted a shocking aura like a ferocious tiger from the ancient times. Break! Zhou Mu held the battle saber in his hand and slashed out. Immediately, a sword ray blasted out. Soon after, the saber light met the sword light and collided with it. Bang! When the sword ray and the sword ray collided, there was a loud bang and a storm of saint power erupted. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression froze, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Zhou Mu was able to block the sword light that ignored all defenses. That was a little strange. This guy's a little strange. What's wrong? Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw that Zhou Mu had blocked the sword ray. He was puzzled. Logically speaking, Zhou Mu shouldn't have been able to break through the 9 Bull Divine Sword's defense, ignoring divine ability. It's his saber. There's a divine ability imprinted on it. As Mo Qingyun thought about it, he sensed that something was amiss. He looked at the saber in Zhou Mu's hand. Seeing Mo Qingyun looking at his saber, Zhou Mu revealed a smug expression. He smiled coldly and said, "Brat, I have the sacred purifying saber in my hand. You're no match for me. Obediently admit defeat and accept your punishment." "Not necessarily," Mo Qingyun replied coldly before launching another attack. This time, Mo Qingyun's attack was even more ferocious than the previous one, and his attacks were even more violent. Mo Qingyun waved the 9-oxen divine sword and blasted out a dragon shadow sword light, which coiled around Zhou Mu in a violent manner. Break! Facing the dragon shadow sword light, Zhou Mu didn't panic at all. He waved his saber casually. Immediately, a saber light with an even more ferocious aura met the dragon shadow sword light. Bang, bang, bang. Under the domineering impact of the saber light, the dragon shadow sword light instantly exploded and dissipated bit by bit. After dispersing Mo Qingyun's sword light, Zhou Mu's face became even more smug. He waved the saber in his hand and said, "Brat, I advise you to give up resisting. This way, I will give you a quick death and let you suffer less." Mo Qingyun didn't respond to Zhou Mu's words. He frowned and thought, "I wonder what kind of divine ability Zhou Mu's saber has. It's actually so powerful." While Mo Qingyun was puzzled, his mind was spinning rapidly, trying to figure out what was wrong. Mo Qingyun thought about it for a while, but to no avail. He decided not to think about it anymore. He only focused on swinging his sword and attacking wildly. He said, "No matter how strong you are in battle, as long as I keep attacking, you will eventually fall under my sword." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he kept waving his sword and attacking Zhou Mu wildly. "You won't cry until you see the coffin. I will make you admit defeat wholeheartedly." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zhou Mu gritted his teeth and said with a gloomy expression. Immediately, he waved his saber wildly to block Mo Qingyun's attacks. Seeing this scene, Zhou Mu's lackeys revealed smug expressions. "Brat, you have no more moves now. Even if you're a dragon, in front of senior brother Zhou Mu, you still have to obediently kneel down. Are you still going to be so arrogant? Now you're being beaten up by senior brother Zhou Mu, aren't you?" Zhou Mu's followers were beside themselves with joy. His sword move. Different from Zhou Mu's followers, Ruo Gu saw Mo Qingyun's move and vaguely found something wrong. He said in surprise, "His sword move seems to be more powerful than before, and it has become more complete." Seeing this, Ruo Gu fell into deep thought, trying to figure out the situation. After pondering for a while, Ruo Gu found the reason and said in surprise, "This guy is really terrifying." He actually used the fight with Zhou Mu to hone his sword move bit by bit. It's still a little lacking. The concept is too weak. After fighting with Zhou Mu, Mo Qingyun became more and more clear about the sword move that he had just comprehended. Subsequently, the power of the sword light that he blasted out increased little by little. Not good. This guy is using me as a whetstone to hone his sword move. After discovering Mo Qingyun's intention, Zhou Mu's face darkened. He felt like he was being toyed with. When this feeling appeared, Zhou Mu's face turned ugly, and his mentality became a little unbalanced. Then, Zhou Mu's attacks became fiercer, causing Mo Qingyun to be flustered. However, when Zhou Mu increased his attacks, Zhou Mu's strategy became a little messy. Here's my chance. Mo Qingyun did not care about Zhou Mu's intensifying attacks at all. For him, he was worried that Zhou Mu would directly admit defeat. If Zhou Mu admitted defeat, he would lose his sparring partner, and his comprehension would stop. Next, Mo Qingyun fought with Zhou Mu to hone the sword move that he had just comprehended. Time passed little by little. As time passed, the power of Mo Qingyun's sword moves became purer and purer, stronger and stronger. After an unknown period of time, Mo Qingyun and Zhou Mu's battle entered the stage of daytime. It's about time to end the battle. After a fierce battle, Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the sword move finally reached a bottleneck. It was not possible for him to continue improving through battle. He could only perfect it bit by bit. Seeing that his comprehension of the sword move was perfected, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any more time. He increased his attacks on Zhou Mu. As Mo Qingyun's attacks increased, Zhou Mu fell into a passive position. He was beaten up by Mo Qingyun's fierce attacks. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all shocked. Their faces were filled with shock. Under Mo Qingyun's attack, the previously arrogant Zhou Mu actually fell into a situation of being beaten up. He did not hesitate and immersed himself in cultivation again. These three Sword of Time could be said to be the first self-created martial arts in Mo Qingyun's life. Because they were self-created martial arts, Mo Qingyun comprehended the most during cultivation. Every time he practiced, he would make new discoveries and inject new inspirations into it. For example, the first time like light focused on increasing attack speed. In this way, the Sword of Time would be able to become even faster after integrating the space and speed laws. The second time is eternal would be integrated with the space confinement laws, increasing its power. As for the last time without regrets, it would be integrated with the space shattering and penetration laws, increasing its power. Time passed quickly. Unknowingly, more than 10 days had passed while Mo Qingyun was comprehending the Sword of Time. After more than 10 days of cultivation, the three Sword of Time that he had created had basically been perfected. With my current strength, even if I encounter an initial Eternity Realm expert, I will still be able to resist. After perfecting the three Sword of Time, Mo Qingyun had a rough estimate of his strength. After estimating his strength, Mo Qingyun was unwilling to continue cultivating. Since the Sword of Time has been perfected, it's time to look for the Tang Gong. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately walked towards them. Senior brothers, I have something to ask you. I hope you can help me. After blocking their path, Mo Qingyun asked in a humble manner, "Where is the Tang Gong you speak of now?" You're looking for Tang Gong? Half-step universe realm. A half-step universe realm cultivator can enter the space-time demonic tower? Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of them, they were all shocked. After a brief moment of surprise, one of them waved his right hand and released a burst of saint power. Immediately, this burst of saint power transformed into an image, showing the scene of the two people fighting. This person used saint power to project the image. He pointed at the old man in the image and said, "A few days ago, I was at the Heavenly Demon Arena and saw Tang Gong challenging the top rankers of the Heavenly Demon Palace. If you want to find him, go to the Heavenly Demon Arena and try your luck." It's him. Seeing the old man in the image, Mo Qingyun was shocked. This old man was none other than the person who gave him directions a few days ago. So he's Tang Gong. After knowing Tang Gong's identity, Mo Qingyun did not know whether to laugh or cry. After looking for Tang Gong for so long, Tang Gong appeared in front of him, but he did not recognize him. Sigh, I was careless this time. I should have made a portrait of Tang Gong. Thinking of the time he wasted, Mo Qingyun could not help but shake his head. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. After a while, Mo Qingyun calmed down and cupped his hands at the person in front of him. Thank you for telling me, senior brother. Mo Qingyun thanked them and continued to walk up Flowing Light Mountain. He was not in a hurry to find Tang Gong. In his opinion, since he had news of Tang Gong, there was no need to rush to find him. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived at Flowing Light Mountain and saw a huge black screen projection. Inside the black screen was a vast and boundless starry sky. From time to time, meteors would streak across the sky. When those meteors streaked across the sky, they were accompanied by the appearance of the law of time, making one feel as if they were there. This is the law of time acceleration. Sensing the power of the law from the black screen projection, Mo Qingyun frowned and felt a sense of surprise. After sensing the law of time, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and prepared to cultivate and comprehend it. What made Mo Qingyun feel a little helpless was that no matter how he tried to comprehend it, he did not gain much. With my current cultivation level, it's still a little difficult to comprehend the law of time. After a period of fruitless comprehension, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating and said with a regretful expression, "My comprehension of the law of time has reached a bottleneck. It's meaningless to continue staying here. It's time to leave and find Tang Gong." Sensing the number of laws Mo Qingyun's, Quan Wenzhong's expression shook, and his face revealed a look of intense shock. In this way, it was impossible to suppress Mo Qingyun in terms of space law. After calming down the shock in his heart, Quan Wenzhong's face darkened, and he said, "Humph, no matter how much you comprehend space law, you still can't change your fate." Quan Wenzhong's figure flashed, and a fist blasted towards Mo Qingyun, blasting out a violent fist shadow. When this fist shadow blasted out, it crushed towards Mo Qingyun with an abnormal speed. This is time acceleration concept. Seeing Quan Wenzhong's attack, Mo Qingyun frowned, and a look of shock appeared on his face. However, soon, a smile appeared on the corner of Mo Qingyun's mouth, and he said, "In that case, I'll use you to practice my time sword art. Time is like light." Looking at the approaching fist light, Mo Qingyun did not retreat at all, and he waved the nine-bull divine sword in his hand. Then, an ethereal sword light flew out and met the fist light. The sword light was extremely fast, and it could be said to have arrived in an instant, hitting the fist light in the blink of an eye. Poochie! Under the bombardment of the sword light, the fist light was instantly cut open and slowly dissipated between heaven and earth. After resolving Quan Wenzhong's fist light with a sword, Mo Qingyun's attack did not decrease, and he swung his sword at Quan Wenzhong again. Immediately, an even faster sword light flew out from the nine-bull divine sword. So fast, seeing the sword light arrive in the blink of an eye, Quan Wenzhong's expression twitched and his eyes widened. He said in shock, Time concept. He actually comprehended time concept. How is this possible? At this moment, Mo Qingyun's performance really frightened Quan Wenzhong. Mo Qingyun was only a half-step universe realm, but he actually comprehended time concept. This kind of comprehension was too terrifying. Poochie, While Quan Wenjong was still in shock, the sword light hit him and sent him flying. Being bombarded by the overbearing sword light, Quan Wenjong immediately spat out blood, and his aura became even more dispirited. Seeing Quan Wenjong being sent flying again, everyone around was dumbfounded and felt that it was a little unreal. Even the time acceleration concept was used, but under Mo Qingyun's attack, Quan Wenjong was still sent flying. In this way, it could be estimated how terrifying Mo Qingyun's strength was. If they did not see it with their own eyes, they would not dare to believe it was true. You lost. Thank you for the guidance. After sending Quan Wenjong flying again, Mo Qingyun cupped his hands, turned around, and flew out of the heavenly demon arena. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Quan Wenjong's face revealed a ferocious expression, and he roared, "I haven't lost yet. Get down here and die." As Quan Wenjong roared, he also jumped and punched at Mo Qingyun.